34 days and counting. 34 days and counting until training camp, where you are right now. If you're a player, let's see, how many training camps have I gone to? 2 with the Bucks, 2 with the Cowboys, 1 with the Lions. Let's see, 1 with the World League, 1 with Canada, CFL, Las Vegas Posse, and 1 with the Arena League. 2, there's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 training camps I went to in my life. And I will tell you, during this time, as you get ready for the upcoming season, you're kind of in a panic mode right now between June and the end of July. Am I in good enough shape heading into training camp? Am I in good enough shape? And have I done all the things? I found myself getting up in the middle of the night, taking my wife and my girlfriend, or she was my girlfriend and my wife at the time, and going to a gym at midnight because you didn't know if you were in shape enough, because you had to do these. Back in the day, you had to do conditioning drills. And with Jimmy Johnson, it was 16 110s. And with the Buccaneers, it was 1.5 miles in 12 minutes. You had to run 1.5 miles in 12 minutes for the conditioning test for the Buccaneers. And you had to do that. And I'm like 275 at the time. You got to run 1.5 miles as you get ready. So every single person and everybody that I know that gets ready for a training camp, those guys are right now going, am I doing enough work? Am I, have I prepared myself for the upcoming season? Have I done enough? And you're 34 days away right now. And that kind of, again, you're in a position where you do this. All right, hopefully I've done enough. And right now it's mostly conditioning work. So these guys are getting ready. I think it's going to be one of the most exciting seasons that we have seen. Okay. And no question, the biggest question marks. This is a pretty good question out of the gate. We're going to look at the topics we have today. All over the place, man. And we're going to start it out here in a minute here. This is an absolutely great question. Seals, what is tougher, do you think? Navy SEAL training or an NFL training camp? I don't think the NFL training camps today are as tough as they were back in the day. It's funny, dude. Hey, Sig, I was thinking of going to like Coronado and trying to do that. And because when we went to Army Navy, we got a chance to be friends with the guy who was head of the SEAL teams. And he was just an absolutely great guy. He's still there, by the way, and he runs all the SEAL teams. And I've actually seen the training. It's pretty intense. But again, here's the one thing that you do, dude. Sig, you do it once. NFL, you've got to do this every year. I just don't think the training camps, though, today are as tough as it was back in the day. So I would say the SEAL teams right now probably clearly are the more intense training. But it's a one-time deal. And, I mean, the NFL guys have to do this every year, but it's not quite as intense as it used to be, where you had 3 months of like 2-a-days. And sometimes you did 3-a-days. And Sig, like when I was in training camp with the Bucks, and I was with like Ray Perkins, those camps were crazy. I mean, 3-a-days. You had to go through 3-a-day camps, and it's for younger dudes. And it's 97 degrees, and it's 97 humidity. And you're out there for 3 practices a day. And you did that for 3 months. And it was as intense as it can get. Hard hitting. Sometimes in the third practice, you didn't even come into the dorm rooms because you just stayed out on the field under a tent because you didn't want to go back in, and you didn't want to go, and you just didn't want to go back. So yeah, I mean, intense. By the way, I found a boatload of those articles that I was trying to reference yesterday, and I want to show you something too on this Brandon Sorsby story. By the way, the Eagles have another shot at him. That'll be after April. I don't know if they're going to end up using a 4th-round pick. But, and quite frankly, we did some due diligence. I don't know the NFL has ever really denied anybody a supplemental draft. But he'll be eligible to be signed by a football team after April of next year. So if I were him, suing the league, okay, that's not where you want to go. I sued the league. Let me read you some of the stories, and you can follow along if you want. It's over on my X account at Dan Sileo Show. And so let me read you some of the columns that people wrote. And this was just, again, these were just, there were thousands of articles written on what Brandon Sorsby's going through right now. So let me read you one. This is the legendary Tom McEwen. Bucks still have a shot at Sileo. Here's the next one. Rozelle the rule on Sileo today. NFL Commissioner Pete Rozelle will rule today whether Dan Sileo and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers signing of Sileo was lawful, declaring him a Buccaneer or a free agent. You guys don't understand. I challenged free agency. Reggie White wasn't the first guy to do it. I did. Here's the article by Tom McEwen. NFL Commissioner Pete Rozelle will rule today whether the Tampa Bay Buccaneers signing of Dan Sileo was lawful, declaring him a Buccaneer or a free agent who must go through some sort of supplemental draft to allow other teams to have the opportunity to acquire him. If Rozelle rules against the Bucs, who surprised the other 27 teams, this is where I got away from it and Sorsby didn't. The Bucs signed me. They gave me a $1.7 million contract. I didn't realize. I thought there were 28. There were 27 teams back then. And the NFL itself, by a quick move on Sileo after the NCAA ruled him ineligible for further University of Miami play, the Bucs and Sileo will fight it. Joe Martinez, Sileo's Miami attorney, already has said he will sue. Buck owner Hugh Culverhouse and Ray Perkins also said they would not accept such decision without further effort. The Bucs were behind me in me suing the league. Perkins told the Buck quarterback club on noon Tuesday he would fight it. The National Football League was fighting the Buccaneers and me. And here's the article. It's at my Twitter page. Here's another one. Bucks draft Sileo, sign him again. And here's the final one, but there were thousands of them and how they went. Okay. Bucks get Sileo, lose pick in draft. Defensive tackle Dan Sileo of the University of Miami was selected by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the 3rd round of the supplemental draft Wednesday. Sileo had signed with the Buccaneers earlier after the NCAA had ruled his college eligibility was, and he was not eligible. The league voided the free agent agreement, requiring Sileo to go through a supplemental draft. The tackle will cost the Bucks a 3rd pick in the 88 college draft. And here's one of the most notable ones that, for me, was one of the more important comments. New York Times, Sileo strikes at NFL in name of free agency. The National Football Players Association is watching the case of Dan Sileo versus the National Football League, but is not touching it. And that's too bad. This case puts a fresh perspective on free agency issues that had pressed the union to the brink of a strike. I pushed for free agency for players. Okay? I pushed for free agency. And in that aspect, me suing the league, okay? Me suing the league hurt me. So if I were Brandon Sorsby, suing the NFL, that's not where you want to go. Anybody who has ever sued, like Major League Baseball, when like Curt Flood sued Major League Baseball for free agency, what happened to his career? He was a great player. I wasn't. What happened to that guy's career, Curt Flood? They ruined it. Dude, I sued Pete Rozelle in the league for free agency. I did not want to go in the supplemental draft. I was fighting for free agency. Supplemental draft? You were telling me where I had to play? I didn't want to go into a supplemental draft. That's right, Jason. In turn, they blackballed me because I sued the league. There was no free agency then. I was threatening it. I threatened free agency. The New York Times, Wall Street Journal articles are right there for you to read. And I posted them at Dan Sileo Show. And by the way, you can Google them too. They're everywhere. So when people came to me and said, you know, this is going to hurt you and how the league looks at you. Yeah, well, I wasn't kneeling. I was kneeling for the players. I was trying to get free agency. Okay? I was trying to fight so that players could go. I did this before Reggie White. Now, Reggie was able to do this because you know why? He was able to do this because he was a better player and a greater player than me. That's right. Okay? The Bucks were one of the worst teams of all time at the time. Correct. And I had to go there. And I told people at the time, I didn't want to go to Tampa Bay. I didn't want to go there. I believed that, guess what? I had missed the 1987 draft. And when I found out that I was a free agent, I said, I'm a free agent. The commissioner called me up. Here's the context of the story, too. And by the way, this is New York Times, Washington Post, Los Angeles Times. This is all of that. And my aunt and everybody were there with me as we were fighting this. Here, and Tom McEwen's one of the most legendary. Here, Culverhouse spoke personally with Rozelle, saying the Bucks had done their homework on this one. And in his judgment, the move was within the rules, that the Bucks simply found out what other clubs had moved on from and feels that the Buccaneers were in the right and just out-hustled everyone. It would be unfair if the NFL rules against Tampa, said Perkins. I think it's a cut-and-dried situation. What kind of ruling we will get, I don't know, but I will fight it. I think we have to have the right to. Sileo was at the Buck Tuesday practice, but only as an observer. Perkins said it would take him 3 weeks to be ready to play right now. Only Mike Stensrud was at the nose guard position. Moving swiftly, the Buccaneer owner, Culverhouse, his aide, Phil Kruger, and Perkins brought Sileo and his attorney to Tampa on Monday. It's the only time I've ever actually flown up in a private jet. The NFL was advised of the plan, and it was executed. The NFL advised the Bucks it would have to study it further, telling Sileo not to practice with the team. I had signed a contract that morning of $1.7 million over 3 years. The Bucks had been studying the Sileo case for some time. Had it gone into August supplemental draft that included Ohio State's Chris Carter and Charles Gladman, they probably would have pursued him. A Bucs source said we didn't, and he didn't. The Bucs study produced a judgment that Sileo was now a free agent based on his college eligibility. This is something that Sorsby's not going to be able to do. There's no other opportunity for him. But what I'm trying to explain to you guys is this, is that I was fighting the NFL on free agency. One could argue your legacy from this situation goes further than your accolades. The stipulations of your case are part of the football law, practically, but they extend to all sports, really. Thank you, Reyes. Yeah, I never looked at it until this Swordsby case. I was the first guy for free agency and fighting for free agency for the NFL players. My case was the beginning. And it cost me. They blackballed me. They wanted me out of the league. They didn't want me to play. And it was like I had to go through the World League to even get a sniff to get back in the National Football League. And when it was said to me, my wife is downstairs. They were going to keep me with the Lions. All the coaches wanted to keep me. Came back. Nope. They didn't keep me because of my history. I mean, your stance makes sense. It makes sense that you would be a free agent if you weren't drafted. Correct. I mean, at the end of the day, they never really, Ray was really behind me, and the Bucks were. And by the way, I'm not telling you I didn't shoot myself in the foot in Tampa, but we've had the general manager who was the GM of the team at the time, and now the president of the Atlanta Falcons, come on here and say, we practiced you wrong. We played you wrong. We even tried to put you in the wrong position. How many times has Rich McKay said that to you guys? There's a video clip of it. We brought you in here, and it wasn't the right fit. I shouldn't have been a Buck. I should have went to Pittsburgh or Dallas, where they used the one technique. Hey, there's no report. There's no getting around it. I did not help myself at all. This kid going through the supplemental draft, he's going to have to really, really think about it. And this might be the best thing in the world. Okay? This might be the best thing in the world for him, not to have gone through the supplemental draft. If you think about it, it's amazing how few people make it to the NFL, and Sills was one of them. Pretty fucking impressive on its face. And how I got there was even more, suing the league. Get this, Sig. I got to the NFL suing the NFL. Won every one of your interviews with him. Yeah. Or be a free agent since your eligibility expired. That's a proper way to put it. Dude, listen. The Hurricanes fought it. The Buccaneer. What saved me was the Bucks. They gave me the contract. They came right to me. And they said this. Here's a $1.7 million deal. Jerome got 1.9. We think you're a first-round kid, and we're going to give you the money and pay you what Jerome did. Now, Jerome was the 9th player taken. I got less, so I probably would have been slated at 13, somewhere in there. Okay? What's not helping Sorsby is no team came to his aid. And that's going to be a problem moving forward. Sills, I understand your position, but let's assume a player wasn't sure where he ended up. He could choose not to declare for the draft and then post-draft shop himself. It would be crazy. Listen, I wasn't trying to beat the NFL. And by the way, I didn't even know that I was going to be fighting for free agency for all the players. I was just trying to play. But as it started to evolve, I challenged free agency. And how they made it up to me, they put me in a supplemental draft. and gave me the contract and said, here. And I dropped my lawsuit. I wonder how that would have been if I would have kept going. But at the end of the day, I got blackballed because I sued the league. And he's going to sue the league? Kid, I'm going to agree with some of you now, and I'm going to say I'm wrong. He may never play again because they did everything for me not to play. And you could show up to all these training camps. Dude, do you find it ironic that every single NFL training camp that I was at, I was the last player cut? Whether it was Detroit, Dallas, Tampa, I was the last player cut every time. And back then, you only kept 45. You didn't keep 71 players like you do today. Okay? I mean, the last player cut. And the general manager always came to me and said, like when Ron Hughes, why do you think Kevin Colbert came on here? Is it starting to make sense? Reyes, I know you and I go back and forth, but does it make sense why Kevin Colbert came on? Kevin Colbert was the assistant general manager in Detroit. And him and Ron Hughes came to my room with Chris Spielman and said, dude, I don't want to cut you. Go see, who was the coach then? I forget the coach. Wayne Fonts. Go see him. And he goes, this is above my head, Dan. And then years later, my wife in the booth told him to go fuck himself when he said it was the biggest mistake I had during my time was letting him go. I had outplayed everybody, including Jerry Ball. And I was coming off an 11-game season with the World League. So if this kid thinks you're going to sue the league and you're not going to face ramifications, bro, you got enough issues to deal with the gambling. You should need to get your shit together and clean it up before you think you're going to ever play for a team like Philly or anyone else. Sorsby's situation could end up being Pandora's box. The NFL is private, so they set the rules. Correct. You know what, Bob? Back then they weren't. Remember, they were under the distinction where they did the United Way stuff? They had their books open because they were operating like they were like a charity. Remember that United Way stuff? They stopped that because then their books closed. Sorsby needs to humble himself so he can get in. I agree with that. You were one angry player with all the roadblocks you were up against. It was terrible. It was, get this, I signed a contract in National Football League, and it was the worst time of my life. I had just been given a $400,000 signing bonus. And all the shit that we had gone through, all the stuff that I lost my senior year, all that, and then the free agency battles. I finally landed Tampa, and then I find out that the union and everyone were getting heat from the NFL because of me suing the league for free agency. Thank God for Reggie White. Thank God for Reggie. Because if it wasn't for Reggie White, we'd have no free agency. And you know what was really cool? Jerome and Reggie knew what I was doing. And those guys, that's why I became friends with Reggie. Those guys knew I was fighting for free agency. I know most of you don't know this story, but this goes back way deeper. And again, the Sorsby story's got gambling around it. I don't have gambling. Okay, I had eligibility based on schoolwork that everyone knows 9 credits. So it is a different situation. But the kid, and I see his agent wants to sue the league. Dude, you sue the National Football League, you'll never play. Look at Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick sued the league, and dude, he never played again. Still, nothing changed in 50 years. NFL and SEC still treated like it's the old boy club. It is. Sills, Reggie beat the system from within. Yeah, he did. And because of who Reggie was. Damn. So the NFL blackballed you, Sills, because your Miami highlights were fucking incredible. They couldn't deny that was what was on film. Bro, they blackballed me. That's why I'm not playing. That's why I didn't have a long NFL career. I got blackballed. Listen, I don't like making excuses for bullshit. My aunt was right here. She saw it. Okay? She saw the whole thing and watched the whole thing. Okay? Saw the whole thing. Okay? Sills is the main reason they aren't holding supplemental draft, so it's essentially suspend Sorsby for the year? Yeah. That's right. That's right. So I wanted to make it a little clearer, my case to you guys. I don't really talk about it much. Betty will tell you. I don't really bring it up much because it was a terrible time. I had all the money. I'd finally made it to the NFL, and I hated it. I hated being an NFL player at that time. Yeah, I can't tell you how many times that I would go back to my apartment and wish it ended because of all the shit I was getting, because I sued the league. What are you doing, dude? And I was getting it daily, even when I was on the Bucks. Okay? That's right. It was terrible. I didn't want to be an NFL player anymore. That's how bad it got. And I made a mistake. I should have fought through it better. That's the story. If you guys want to think it's an excuse, no problem. But I'm just like Betty will tell you. That's the story. I did. I hated the NFL. It's terrible. And then when I got to the World League, and they saw me dominating, and Galen Hall goes, "Why are you in this league?" All the scouts would come around when I was killing people in the World League. Why are you in the World League? I'm in the World League because you guys put me here. You should be starting on an NFL roster somewhere. I'm like, you people put me here. It's a true story. Sills, it's apparent to me gambling is worse than drugs. The NFL has to protect the integrity of the shield. Okay? I just don't think they now get paid by gambling platforms. Sorsby deserves a chance. Big Sills, on and off the field, you made a difference in sports. Hopefully future players can learn from your story. Dude, okay? Yeah, I you know what? And I really don't bring that story up a lot on what happened. But bro, I didn't want to play in the NFL anymore. I actually got a paycheck one day for $47,000. And I didn't cash it for 4 weeks because I didn't care. I mean, Seals, I have to ask, as your choice, or was it your agent? I asked because JC's listening to his agent, and it cost him. I listened to my attorney. If I had to do that all over again, he would never have been my attorney. But Drew Rosenhaus has got a big name. Believe me, Drew Rosenhaus wanted to represent me during this, and I probably would have done better if I had gone with Drew. Drew's talked about this with me. Okay? You know? Oh, dude, depressed was beyond anything I could have imagined and tell you. And by the way, we're going to get to the topics. I haven't even picked up the topic page yet. But I wanted to make this story here about this Brendan Sorsby case. If he sues the league, dude, that guy is going to regret it. They'll blackball him. And by the way, they're probably going to they're blackballing him now from the supplemental draft. What do you think they're going to do next year when he gets ready to go into the draft? They're going to blackball him worse. They're going to totally blackball him worse. Kid, if I could give that kid any advice, get your agent. You got your nil money from Texas Tech and move forward. Okay? And move forward. Because at the end of the day, you suing the league is not going to help you. All right. So we're going to get to the topics now. We got a boatload of them here too. Okay, we got an absolute boatload of them. So let me start it out here. And by the way, Battle Royale will be with us. Okay, let's see here. Let's go to somebody that's not spamming. Here we go. Sills, would Sorsby benefit at all going to the UFL or the CFL? Or should he just hire a quarterback coach and work with him in the meantime? I think he should hire the guy that Jalen Hurts has. That Scott Loeffler guy. Get Scott Loeffler, get him, and have an ability to be able to work on your game and get ready for the upcoming draft. And if you don't get drafted, get a chance to do this. Go and become a free agent and get a shot at going and playing in the NFL as a free agent. All right, I want to start the show off by doing this. Where's that number here? All right, I want to show you something here. So we talked extensively yesterday about Jalen Carter. And by the way, according to Drew Rosenhaus, they are far apart in contract negotiations. They are miles apart. Talking with Robert Bailey last night, it's all on the guaranteed money. They are miles apart. Okay? And remember something. If you hear anything from a player inside the organization, like a guy from a Jordan Mailata or any of these other players, they're mouthpieces for the National Football League's Eagles. They are professional mouthpieces. They are miles away on the guaranteed money and the annual money. Okay? And I want to show you something here. So the last 3 years, Jeffrey Simmons, 21 and a half sacks, Carter's 13 and a half. Pressures, 156 for Simmons, 143 for Carter. And by the way, Carter is on a better team. Quarterback hits, Simmons, 41 to 37. TFLs, 38 to 25. Jeffrey Simmons is a better football player right now. You're not giving more money to Jalen Carter than Jeffrey Simmons. Okay? You're not. That's not happening. And here, let me give you here's the email that we got back from Robert Bailey inside of Drew Rosenhaus Sports. Listen, Carter and the Eagles right now are far apart on a long-term contract extension. Carter is seeking market-setting contracts, $35+ million, and this is what we're looking at. The Eagles have hit pause, they're saying. Rosenhaus is pushing for a lucrative top-of-the-market contract for Carter, driven higher by, obvious, the Jeffrey Simmons deal. Here's the Eagles side of it, according to Robert. The front office is hesitant to commit fully at this price and the asking price of Drew Rosenhaus. to lingering concerns over the player's consistency, health, maturity, current status. This is where we're going to put Carter in the upcoming camp. And remember, we're saying this on Wednesday, June 24th. Here's what they are starting to believe they're going to do for the July 28th training camp. Okay? Carter, who skipped voluntary off-season workouts, and although he attended mandatory minicamp, many people, he skipped the voluntary, which is not uncommon, but he attended the mandatory minicamp, did not practice in team drills by design of Rosenhaus Sports. The Eagles do not feel immense pressure to rush a deal because they still have control, Dan, through his rookie contract and the newly picked up 50-year option for 27. By the way, here at Drew Rosenhaus and Associates, they basically are saying this. The 50-year option being picked up, unless it was going to be a negotiating tool for a long-term deal, they hate. That's where they are. So all that bullshit that's coming out of Philadelphia right now is Bob Lang-centric. Don't believe anything coming out of that place. They lie to you every day when it comes to contracts, when it comes to how they see a player. They're professional liars. Nobody's going to tell you the truth on dealing with a contract. And by the way, once again, the bottom line, it comes down to this. What's the holdup? You don't need to wait until the start of training camp. For what? You're not going to make a splash. It makes no sense. Okay? I'll tell you this. Drew is also a liar then in public negotiations. When have you seen Drew Rosenhaus negotiating Jalen Carter's contract in public? Where did you see that? Philly not paying both DTs. Carter getting traded. Immaturity outweighs production. Wizard, think of this. If they give that guy $36 million, you're going to be paying an edge rusher at the other side $25 million with Grenard, $36 with Carter, $25 for Davis, and $14 for Nolan Smith? Is that right? Let's add that up. That's 50, 86. That's $100 million on a $300 million salary cap for four guys. Before you even get to Bond and Q and Mitchell. How in God's name do you believe that organization is going to give that kind of money up for defensive tackles? When you've got a $200 million payroll on offense right now, I'm going to tell you flat out, the thing that's killing the Eagles right now is because you have an unbalanced salary cap. You got an underachieving $200 million offense. And you've got defensive guys that are coming up. And you can't move the money around because you still are tied to many of the contracts on offense. Dude, hey, Kyle, tell these people, the next 2 years, how much money are the Eagles going to have to pay for AJ not even being on the team when it comes to your cap hits? And by the way, those void years, let me show you something here where the Eagles are when you're going to have to start restructuring contracts. What NFL team has the most money owed. Most money owed on void years. The Eagles right now. Check this out. The Philadelphia Eagles, this is off of NFLPA, have by far the most money pushed into future void years, with approximately $300 to $474 million in future cap commitments. This far exceeds the rest of the league. The front office strategy, engineered by Howie Roseman, allows the team to manipulate the salary cap by converting base salary into signing bonuses, prorating them over the void years. Well, that's great and all. That means you're going to have to start restructuring current contracts. Like who? This is why they haven't done shit with Jalen Hurts' deal. The years are here. I'll show you what they're owed. How much in void years are you owed in 2027? How much will the Eagles owe? How much will the Eagles owe in void year money in 2027? The Eagles are going to owe nearly $90 million in projected cap. They're going to owe that money. What they're going to, here. How much will the Eagles owe in voided money in 2027? Money owed. See if the PA gives me this. Again, A.J. Brown's money triggered approximately $27 million in dead cap. Goddard's restructuring his deal or voiding it out. His current contract allows to expire or void out. The Eagles would take a $6.92 million hit on the salary cap. Here's the big one. Future prorated option bonuses and rolling guarantees for quarterback Jalen Hurts are projected to result in a dead cap figure of over $100 million if cut or traded prior to 2029, unless restructured. And they could split it out over the next 3 years if they prorate it outright. Bro, this team owes a shitload of money. They owe a shitload of money. That's why they haven't moved anything. And you're going to, by the way, you're going to pay a guy who's not better than a guy. How are you going to pay a guy more money than the guy who just got the top salary and you're not better than him? I don't think that's a wrong thing for the Eagles to say, you're not better than Simmons. I'm not paying you more than Simmons. What, you think because he's next up, he's getting more money? He's not a better ball player. The guy's not a better ball player. Sales bingo, for the simple fact, as much as deferring the money, guaranteed money to the future benefits you, it kills you when you don't get it right. Hurts, Bryce Huff, AJ, listen, that money that they give with that base salary is now why they haven't extended Hurts and why they haven't signed. Okay? Let's see. This will be not interesting, but this will be good content. Sills, doesn't matter what you say or think. How he always figures it out. No, he hasn't. He has not figured it out because you've let Milton Williams go. You've let Josh Sweat go. You've let Jalen Phillips go. You've let Nakobe Dean go. For what? One player? How is that figuring it out? And then you're going to turn around and let Moro Ajomo go? You're letting multiple players go because of your cap issues. Dude, what are you talking about? So you think letting 5 players for one player who hasn't proven he's a $36 million a year guy is smart business? One thing I learned about Howie Roseman, you don't question his moves until he proves he has to have a losing season with Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts. Okay. Playing dumb like he doesn't understand why the cap situation is what it is. I know why it's, I know, I don't think you're talking to me. Yes, that's a part of the game. You think you're able to keep 100% of the players? So wait a minute. You think this, Jalen Carter is not worth $36 million. He's not better than Jeffrey Simmons. He's not a better ball player. And you think letting loose 5 players on defense, 5 starters, is smart. Soon to be 6 starters is smart for one guy. So when Moro Ajomo leaves, you're not paying him too. You think paying guys that kind of money, you think it's in the best interest of the team to lose 6 starters, 6 for one guy who's an underachiever. This is part of drafting well. Players move on to get paid. Would you rather us not draft well? Not the point. That's not what I'm saying here to you, guy. Listen. You don't have one guy on that defense as of right now that's earned a second contract, he said, for Jordan Davis in the 5 years Nick Sirianni's been the head coach. You don't find that odd? And guys that you developed from 4th round, 3rd round, 2nd round, you're all just letting walk out the building? Not even offering them a contract? How do you know Jahad Campbell's going to be a better player than Dean? You're assuming that because of Howie, right? Okay. He could be. Sills, why can't fans criticize Howie for this? Because they don't want to. Because they have rose eagle-colored glasses on. They think the guy is the Messiah and walks on water. He fucked up with the Bryce Huff move. Plain and simple. It was a bad move. Jalen Reagor was a bust. Andre Dillard was a first-round bust. It's okay to say that because he's hit on numerous second-rounders. Cooper DeJean, Cam Jurgens, Tyler Steen is starting to look like a good player. It's okay. But he's not perfect. It's okay. But when you start talking normal football with people, people want you to glaze donut people. That's not what we do here. We're the wrong show for you, man. Honestly, some of you people that come here every day and post your nonsense, we're not the show for you. And by the way, once again, if it's not intelligent conversation, you're basically a box of rocks to us right now until you bring something noteworthy to the show. You're going to be typing your little fingers off. And we appreciate the algorithm. And for some of you, you'll be paying for my attention. Sills, I find it hilarious on offense. They pay guys for one good year, but on defense, they pick and choose who to play. That is so true. Nobody gets rewarded on defense for 1 year. I'll take that back. They gave what's his name? Zach Bond, a really nice contract after 1 year. Okay? They really did. They gave him a nice contract. I love it, Sills. Total emotional chaos. Oh, these people are in ruin right now. Look at them posting away. They're in ruin. You come in here and say that, me? Dude, I got another show later on tonight. You're the ones that get emotionally upset here when we tell you the truth. Okay? I got a TV show on weekends and a morning radio show. I don't get twisted like some of you in here who are in here for 4 hours posting nonsense. You're the ones that are emotional. It's crazy. I do 7 hours of broadcasting a day. You think I'm emotional over some idiot in here posting away nonsense? Okay. So a team that took the biggest cap hit in history to get rid of Wentz and survived is now cap idiots. I didn't say that. You've made that up. You've made that up. Here, I'll tell you what. Let me go back here. I'll tell you one thing that you will never be. You will never be what the New England Patriots were, and you'll never be a dynasty. You know why? They cut and traded Jalen Carter. Hey, Bob, I hope you're still in here. Hey, Bob, what would Bill Belichick and Scott Pioli do with Jalen Carter? There's too many bad deals on offense. Now, yes. Bob, what would Bill Belichick and Scott Pioli or Mike Lombardi do with Jalen Carter? What would they do with Jalen Carter, in your opinion? And by the way, soon as Bob says it, I'll tell you a player Jalen Carter will never be. Play out his deal and then moved him. Hey, Bob, Jalen Carter will never be Richard Seymour. Richard Seymour was a spectacular player, and they moved him when he wanted more money. When Stephon Gilmore wanted more money, they moved him. Okay? That's right. Dynasties have great quarterbacks. You don't have one. Correct, Bob. When Randy Moss wanted more money, they moved him. By the way, I really like this article that CBS put out today. They put out, what's the headline here? Let me read the headline to you. The greatest NFL teams of every decade from 2020s to today. I won't go all the way back with the leather helmet, guys. Let's start from the 60s. The Packers and Lombardi. Runner-up, Kansas City Chiefs. Honorable mention, the Dallas Cowboys. 70s, got to be the Steelers. Yep. Steelers, Cowboys runner-up, Miami Dolphins, honorable mention. 80s, 49ers. Washington and the Raiders, honorable mention. 90s, Dallas Cowboys, Broncos, and the 49ers. 2000s, Patriots, Steelers, and the Colts. 2010, Patriots, Seahawks, Broncos. 2020s, Chiefs, Eagles runner-up, and the Rams. Honorable mention. One thing you'll never be the Patriots because they don't fall in love with players. They move them. The Patriots understood that keeping the best parts of the winning team was more important than keeping one great player. Dead on. Dead on. They didn't work contracts in New England. They worked rosters in New England. There lies the difference between the dynasty and Brady. And Brady. Brady and working the contracts. They never in any way ever fell in love with a guy. They moved him. They would move Quinyon Mitchell. They would move Cooper DeJean. They would move everybody. You know why? Integrity of the salary cap. There was never going to be a high-paid offense and a high-paid defense in New England. Ever. And there never was. And remember something. The guys that ran that organization were Scott Pioli and Mike Lombardi and Belichick. You could talk about your GM all you fucking want. But during the salary cap era, nobody has touched the Patriots. There isn't any team in history of the NFL that will do what Belichick and Brady did. Correct, Dan. Nobody will ever do that. Because you know why? Nobody will have the balls to do that. You're not going to move on from great players because they get afraid. Well, if you believe in your system, get this. Nobody in New England during that entire dynasty ever was the highest paid player at their respective positions. Never. And that was the secret. Cap balance, Brady, and great free agency. They weren't, you couldn't name, hey, do me a favor, Dan or anyone in here, name me a wide receiver they drafted that was decent. In the 25 years they were in New England, name me one wide receiver that was a superstar receiver in New England. There wasn't one. There wasn't one guy that they drafted. But you know what they did? They went out and got Amendola, Edelman, Welker in a trade with the Dolphins, who had been cut by the Chargers. I mean, so why did the Chiefs pay Mahomes so much money if that's not part of the secret sauce with New England? Okay. Name me a wide receiver in Kansas City. Or name me any offensive skilled guy that's a high-paid guy outside of the tight end. In the entire time of Mahomes, name me one. They didn't pay Tyreek Hill. When Hill wanted money, and by the way, Troy Brown came in from Pete Carroll, and he was there when Parcells was there. Name me one wide receiver in Kansas City that made big money. One. Kansas City's doing the same shit that New England did. Not falling in love with anyone, getting rid of Snead, getting rid of Honey Badger, getting rid of all the high-priced guys, and keeping a couple guys to keep the base of their football team. And that's why they've been to 7 of the last 8 AFC championship games and been to 5 Super Bowls. And my friend, Kelsey is the only guy they paid. No one else. They moved on from Tyreek Hill and won 2 Super Bowls. Dog. Okay, one guy. They're not paying multiple receivers $25+ million and a tight end $14 million like you are, and a running back 20. They don't do that. They didn't do. Man, are you under the impression you have the savant of how you ran your organization next to New England? It's not close. Here's another statistic for you guys. Okay? The 19 years that Brady and Belichick were in New England, every other year they went to the Super Bowl. Every other year they went to the Super Bowl. With that style of management. You think there's something to it? Not falling in love with players. I do believe what Howie does. That's building the roster. I'd rather have a strong roster than an elite quarterback. Seals, during the Coward time in Pittsburgh, what skilled player they drafted on Pittsburgh and not Bettis? He was a trade. Correct. If I'm not mistaken, Hines Ward was a second rounder. And I can't think of another guy in Pittsburgh during their time because Pittsburgh was player development. You know, the stuff that Pittsburgh is doing now by going into the market and doing all these moves, very un-Pittsburgh-like. And it's why Pittsburgh is not the same organization that it once was. Do you think it's contradicting to say wins and losses aren't a quarterback stat? They say every dynasty has a good quarterback. Hey, listen, I'm talking about Belichick and Brady being together, the man building it and an elite quarterback. The rest of them are interchangeable pieces. The Eagles are falling in love with their guys that they draft in their draft picks. This is why when you get a general manager, you're going to have up and down years. You're going to have a meltdown, great year. Meltdown, great year. Meltdown, great year. That's been the story under the Sirianni era. Meltdown, great year. Meltdown, great year. Meltdown, great year. You don't have consistency in Philly. It's either one or the other. And by the way, you told me success is based on your Philadelphia postseasons. Did you not? Birds have paid. And by the way, you sit there and you take a shit on the Buffalo Bills bang in the AFC East. How about the fact that the Eagles play in the shitty NFC East? Birds have paid money, and these cap hits, they don't want to move players as they have paid them the void year cash and signing bonuses and don't know about future of the players playing more and wanting more for money and what the future is. That's exactly right, my friend. That's been the story of every team, buddy. Who's winning the Super Bowl every year? Correct. You're no different than the other ball teams, except that you got a general manager that is pretty good at what he does. But you're not a Super Bowl contending team every year. You weren't in 23, and you weren't a year ago. You only pretend you were. Nobody thinks the Eagles were a Super Bowl contending team a year ago. Only you did. 7-7 down the stretch. Give me a break. Sills, both New England and Kansas City paid their great tight ends. By the way, Bob, what is the one thing that Andy Reid is doing in Kansas City? Okay? One thing in Kansas City that he did in Philadelphia. What's the one thing he's doing? Bob, in Philadelphia, maybe some of you other guys in here will say it too. Am I right when I say this? Hasn't the tight end under Andy Reid, when he was in Philadelphia, wasn't that always a major part of his passing game? Was the tight end play in Philly? Even to some of you that disagree with me, isn't the tight end play and the tight end in Philadelphia, wasn't that like a real big deal? Okay. Right? Didn't you have, let me take a look at something. Year by year numbers under the Andy Reid era. Let's take a look at this. Andy Reid, all right, we'll go Philadelphia year to year. Eagles year to year. Let's take a look at this. See how it looks. And I don't know. So where was Andy Reid? Here he is right here. Here's Andy Reid. Okay. So Reid. Let's see. Okay. Let's take a look here. Philadelphia Eagles 1997. Okay. 1997. Let's take a look at this and go up here with Here we go. So receiving this year, great year by Irving Fryer. 1,300 yards in 1997. They were 6-9-1. That's really a good year by Irving Fryer. So let's go here to 19. What year did they get to the let's go to the Super Bowl year, 2004. You got Owens in here. Who was your tight end that year? Now, LJ Smith, 400 yards, not bad. Okay. Take a look at your tight ends from the year 2016. Under Doug Peterson, Hurts was your leading wide receiver. Take a look at what you have now in Kansas City. Andy loved going to the tight end when he was in Kansas, when he was with the Eagles. And now let's take a look at the Chiefs. Kansas City Chiefs, year to year. Let's go here. How many years under Andy Reid has the tight end led in receptions? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. In his 9 years, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 years. 9 of the 13 years, the tight end led in wide receiver numbers. You had a tight end. When he was in Philadelphia, outside of the Owens year and a couple wide receiver years, your tight ends were enormous in your pass game. So the point is that up in New England, same thing. Aaron Hernandez, Gronkowski, all them dudes. That's how they won ball games, throwing the football to the tight end. They were big time. You had no wide receivers to say to anything in Philadelphia. You didn't even have a 100-catch guy until these guys showed up recently. Philadelphia has been one of the worst wide receiver organizations of all time. You were behind the sticks all the way until these past 5 years with a couple sporadic years of good wide receiver play. Think about that. Since the Super Bowl era, you never had one guy catch 100 passes that wasn't a tight end. Not one. Was it a place that wide receivers came? Dude, I'm telling you, Piettis, I got it. Eagles they're mostly a top excuse me, a tight end franchise. Andy never had great wideouts. Okay, you have not. You've been to 33% of the Super Bowls in the last. Okay, you want to hear this one? In the last 25 years. Let me see. Get this. Look at this guy here. Well, I'll give you one better. When did Bob Kraft buy the Patriots? What was Bob Kraft's first year owning the Patriots? Bob Kraft, owner of the Patriots. When did he become? What year? Okay. January 21, 1994. Okay, so let's take a look at how this guy, the last decade, I'll show you something different. Super Bowl winners list since 1994. Let's see how many Super Bowls the Patriots have been since 94. Let's see here. 1, 97. Let's see here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They've been to 10 Super Bowls in how many years? Let's see here. 1994. 32. They've been to 10 of the 32 Super Bowls since 1994. 10. 10 Super Bowls. Let's see here. Here. 10. I mean, need pre-salary cap? They went pre-salary cap. Let's go 2000 then. No problem. Since 2000, how many Super Bowls have the New England Patriots? Salary cap started in 97, really. So let's take a look at that. How many Super Bowls have the Patriots been to? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So, what negativity? What are you talking about? I'm talking about where you are in negotiating with a football player that's going to hold out. What are you going to do? Trade him or keep him? Bro, again, this place ain't for you, guy. Let's see. What an incredible run that club has had. And it's starting to look like they could go on another. Correct. You know why? CT Philly. Because of ownership. And because of how they do business. Bob Kraft is a better owner than Jeffrey Lurie as a football man. Plain and simple. He went to a Super Bowl with Drew Bledsoe and Belichick, or Parcells. And he went with Brady and Belichick. And now he's gone with Vrabel. Oh, and by the way, some of you Nimrods in here, how many people really believe still that Mike Vrabel's not going to be the starting head coach for the Patriots come Wednesday night when they take on the Seattle Seahawks? Wrong again. I had people in here telling me that Mike Vrabel was going to resign as the head coach of the Patriots. Where did you get that one from? Why would he resign? Why would Mike Vrabel resign? Okay? Owners don't do dick. The players make the league, not owners. Really? So wait a minute. You think that Woody Johnson. So what's the problem with the Jets then? What do you think the problem with the Jets is then? What do you think the problem with the New York Jets is? If it's not Woody Johnson, what is it? What is it, dude? The Bidwells in Arizona. Read-only tight end coach to put 2 tight ends from the team in the Pro Bowl at the Packers. Never knew that. Well, why are the Packers successful? Is it their owner? It's their management style. Okay? So the Packers. Okay. It's a great take. So let's take a look at the bet. Let's take a look at the teams. And according to this guy, let's just take a look at the NFL draft. The Packers have been doing business like that since 1920. Here, 2026 NFL Draft. NFL Draft. Says owners don't do shit. Let's take a look at that. Hey, how good do you think Mark Davis is as an owner? They had the number 1 pick. How good have the Raiders been since Mark Davis has owned the team and run the team? Would you not call him one of the worst, owners? Well, there's the first pick. Woody Johnson is the second pick. The Bidwells are the third pick. I forget what the name of the family is that owns the Titans. The first 4 picks in the draft. And the only reason that the Browns aren't there is because didn't they trade down? Those are all the worst owners in football. I'd rather go with the Band-Aid man. To say the Eagles can't be a dynasty with Hurts as their quarterback is malpractice. I agree. The majority of the dynasties have above average quarterbacks, but compare Hurts to Bradshaw during both of the dynasty years. I won't do that. That's absurd. Terry Bradshaw called his own plays, dude. Terry Bradshaw didn't have an OC. He called his own plays. Are you comparing that stiff-arm quarterback who can't throw a football with any consistency, a passing quarterback? Dude, Jalen Hurts is a good player. Let's not get freaking nuts here. So let me ask, somebody brought this up this morning. You think Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback than Matt Ryan? Former Falcon quarterback. You think he's a better quarterback than Matt Ryan? When you think that Jalen Hurts is a better player than, not close, which side is that on? I didn't know about Matt Ryan. Okay? I didn't know. And hey, Rasputin, I had no idea that Matt Ryan was this guy. I never in a million years looked up and said, Matt Ryan was this elite guy. And then I looked and someone pointed it out to me. Different era of football, my friend. Okay, let me show you something here. See this here? 53.5%. What was the completion percentage for the NFL in let's go 76, his last title. Or 79, his last title. Okay. What was the completion percentage? Completion percentage for NFL quarterbacks. Average. %55%. In 1979, the NFL league-wide average completion percentage for quarterbacks in 79 was 55.1, beginning the era of a spike in passing across the league. And that was 55.5 was the NFL average. Bradshaw was 53.5. Sounds to me like he was right along the lines of what they were doing in the NFL. So, yeah, I get it. So, back to Matt Ryan. I didn't know this. Matt Ryan threw for 62,792 yards, 381 touchdowns, 183 interceptions, and threw for over 4K 10 times and was an NFL MVP. This guy is going to the Hall of Fame. This guy's a Hall of Fame player. That's a Hall of Fame player. I didn't realize that. Okay? I mean, correct me. Bradshaw had Franco Harris running the ball. Yeah. And Rocky Blyer. And he also had Lynn Swan, Stallworth, had Webster up front. Great players. And, of course, the great Steel Curtain. I didn't realize that Matt Ryan flew under the radar like that. You just wanted to say Hurts is a stiff-arm quarterback, but Hurts has 10% higher. You're missing the point. The NFL didn't throw the ball back then. They ran the ball. The NFL back then was based on running the ball. During the 70s, the teams that ran the ball the most won the Super Bowls. Raiders ran the ball. The Dolphins ran the ball. The Steelers ran the ball. All those Super Bowl teams ran the ball. Those 3-time Super Bowl teams that the Dolphins had, Zonka and Kick and Mercury Morse, and then they ran the ball, dude. They stopped wasting my breath. Wasting my breath. Seals, without Laurie, the Eagles may be the Jets over the last quarter. Yeah. Dude, he's been a really good quarterback. Let's see here. Matt Ryan wasn't elite, but he was a top 10. So get this. If Matt Ryan with 62,000, Matt Ryan will get a better look at the Hall of Fame than Hurts will. I've had 5 Hall of Fame voters tell you that. I know you don't want to hear it, but every time we get a Hall of Fame voter on, that's not Sills talking. I'll tell you what we'll do tomorrow. Jason Cole's on tomorrow. We'll ask him again. Do you think Jalen Hurts is a Hall of Fame player? And he'll tell you absolutely not. And he's one of the 50 guys that votes. So the next time you guys have him in, you might want to be nicer to him. You just might want to be nicer to the guy. Or when we get Howard Balzer in, he's also a Hall of Fame voter. Or Armando, he's a Hall of Fame voter. Or Jared Bell. All these men have been on our program and have all said no. What else do you need to know? At some point, comparing Matt Ryan's of the world to Hurts winning, they're not going to look at the resume, guy. They're going to look at individual achievement going into the Hall of Fame. Because they don't look at the wins as a quarterback stat. Hall of Fame voters don't look at team wins for you going to the Hall. You don't get paid like that, and you don't go to the Hall of Fame like that. Dan Marino, 7-9 in the postseason. He's 7-9. How did that guy make it? Joe Namath has a losing record as a quarterback in the NFL. And you want to hear something more? He's got more interceptions than touchdowns. I think he does. Let me double check that. I think Namath's got more interceptions than touchdowns and by far more losses. Joe Namath. Namath is 62-63. He's thrown 173 touchdowns and 220 interceptions and led the NFL in interceptions 4 times and led the NFL in touchdown throws once. How'd he get in? Because Namath was a generational talent. Jalen with 2 rings and maybe 35 to 40 passing yards. When he hangs it up, he's getting in. Well, you find me a voter that will say that. I've brought 5 on and said no. 5 of the 50. Okay? You got 45 more to go. That's the case. That's right. He won with the Jets. Okay? And Joe got inducted in 85, so if it was today's standards, his ass wouldn't be anywhere. I happen to think you're correct. Namath also played in an era where you got mugged at – look, they took all of that into account. And a quarterback got destroyed. Guys, don't get mad at me because the voters said they wouldn't vote for him. I have an opinion. They have a vote. Take it up with Jason Cole tomorrow. You guys could take it up with him. I'll tell you what we're going to do. You know what we'll do tomorrow? Do you know what we'll do tomorrow? We will have a debate. And you can ask Jason Cole tomorrow why he doesn't think he's a Hall of Famer. So you don't have to get mad at me. Okay? Why are we comparing a 4-year resume and Jalen Hurts to retired players that played 10 years? You don't. That's right. A lot more to be written. And that's why the quarterback's got a big year this year. And that's why his ass is on the line. Star quarterbacks aren't being run out of town if they have a bad year. I mean, Seals, what do you think those voters say if Hurts goes to a Super Bowl without AJ? I don't know. Jim Plunkett won 2 Super Bowls and an MVP. What do they say about him? Okay. By the way, I didn't say that to you. I've said that as an opinion. Those guys are voters. They have to vote and told you they wouldn't. Get this. He knows bagels, not football, and he's got a Hall of Fame vote. Seals, can you ask Jason Cole why Hines Ward keeps getting passed over for the Hall of Fame? Why do you think Hines Ward? I'll show you why. And this goes to the stupid comments that some of these ignorant people keep posting. I'll show you exactly why Hines Ward is not a Hall of Fame player. Okay? Here's why. It's not that hard. They're not that bad. They're better than I thought. Reggie Wayne blows them away, though. 1,000 catches, 1,200 yards, 85 touchdowns. That's cool. And I think that's a really good career. Most receiving yards. Here, let me give you guys. Bro, you go into the Hall of Fame on your numbers, not team accomplishments. You just don't get it. You think if a guy has all these accomplishments, like the ridiculous comment that is made is that Barkley's a Hall of Fame player. Barkley is nowhere near a Hall of Fame running back. Okay, here. So where is who's the guy? You were talking about Hines Ward. Okay. So Hines Ward is what? He's 31st. And here's the guys that aren't in. Jimmy Smith's got a better resume. By the way, Antonio Brown is a superior player to Hines Ward. He's a superior football player. Brandon Marshall had more. Irving Fryer is a better player. Torrey Holt, Julio Jones, Anquan Bolden, Reggie Wayne, Steve Smith Sr. These are all better football players. Well, Sills, he played on a good team and a Super Bowl champion team in Pittsburgh. So what? Still catching, let's see here. He's a Hall of Fame talent if he could stay healthy and obtain a ton of more yards. Maybe, I doubt it though. Here, I'll show you here on why he's not a Hall of Fame running back. So what did he get last year? What did he get? 1,100 yards? Barkley, what did Barkley get last year? By the way, we got a topic coming up here on Saquon Barkley. Okay. Barkley stats. See what he got here. 3-time Pro Bowler, Super Bowl champ, Offensive Player of the Year. Good stuff there. Had 1,100 yards last year. So he's got 83-56, and he's 28 years old. 83-56. And he's played 8 years. So he's theoretically averaged about, probably about what? Like 1,300 yards? That's not terrible. Let's see where he is in all-time rushing. All-time rushing numbers. All-time NFL rushing leaders. Let's see where he is entering this season. He's 44th at 28. Here's backs that he'll never touch. And right now, Derrick Henry's 10th. And Derrick Henry is 130 yards shy of Eric Dickerson. He's 400 yards shy of Bettis. He's 550 yards shy of LaDainian Tomlinson. He's 900 yards short of Curtis Martin. And he is 1,300 yards shy of Adrian Peterson. Theoretically, by the end of the season, Derrick Henry will be 5th all-time in total rushing yards with over 100 touchdowns. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. And here's guys that are not in the Hall of Fame that Barkley's got to go past. Shady McCoy's got 11,000 rushing yards. That's 9, 10. That's like 2,500 yards away. He may pass Shady. Corey Dillon's got 12,000 rushing yards. Steven Jackson's got 11,000 rushing yards. Dude, Frank Gore's got 16,000 rushing yards. Sean Alexander is ahead of him. Zeke Elliott is ahead of him. O.J. Anderson, Ricky Williams, Eddie George, Tiki Barber, Jamal Lewis, Ricky Waters, Warwick Dunn. Those are all better ball players. I mean, it's a tough road for him to get to the Hall of Fame. That's because you win a Super Bowl? That don't mean you're going, man. Russell Wilson is a Hall of Famer. The stats, the wins, even with the last few years wasted. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Let me get over to some of the we haven't even really gotten to our topics yet, so we're going to get there. By the way, don't forget Battle Royale. Pressing AP by the end of the season is impressive playing in today's NFL. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. We'll see what he does. And by the way, I wrote this down here on Barkley. The season for Sean Mannion, it's not going to be based on what, okay? Not going to be based on what Hurts does. It's going to be based on what Barkley does. If Barkley doesn't get back to at least 1,400 yards, I mean, you're not going to be in contention. You used to say, I never said that. I've never said, you used to say Super Bowls were the only thing that mattered. Now, what you would say is individual achieve. I have never said that because football players are not paid on team accomplishments. And they don't make it to the Hall of Fame on team accomplishments. They help, but that's not why you go. If that's the case, why is Jeffrey Simmons resetting the market with the Titans? Or why did Myles Garrett get a $42 million contract in Cleveland with 5 wins? How in God's name do you put that in context? How are the top 10 quarterbacks today who've not been to Super Bowls making more money than Jalen Hurts then? It's not based on wins. It's based on accomplishments individually and what kind of player you are. But you don't see that. You think that's crazy. Well, this is how players are looked at. How you're paid. Anybody in life is looked at like that. People can pat you on the back with those stupid coaching things. Hey, great job. You're a great guy. But if you're not paying the guy decent money, they don't really think much of you. Now, there's different situations that you got to work with people. But most of the time, especially in professional sports, you know who you are in that room by how you're paid. And that's what Jalen Carter's going through right now with the Eagles. You're missing the point, guy. All of you are missing it. And he's not. The problem now is Jeffrey Simmons. He's on how many wins did the Titans have last year? Sills, there's a lot of low IQ people. And you know what, Jason? No, they're Eagle guys, and some people just come in here to bitch every day. That's okay. I really don't care. I swear to God. Let them pound away on the keys, and it's useless because I don't really give a shit what their thoughts process are. I don't care. Some of you come in here for a decent conversation. And listen, I want to make this very clear. I think the Eagles are a great organization. I think you guys do great things. And it's fun to talk about you guys. But don't get it twisted. We don't walk around a glazed donut Howie Roseman knee pads. I mean, whatever. Because of fans, especially Eagle fans, wins are what matter. Fans don't determine pay or Hall of Fame votes. That's okay. But when you're talking about paying a guy like Jalen Carter or Jalen Hurts, do you know? Hey, let me ask you this, Mark. Mark, if the Eagles cared so much about winning, and you know what? Joe Krause brought this up a couple days ago when we were talking. If the Eagles cared so much about winning, why are they changing their offense? I would have ran it back. I would have ran the same shit until the horse blew its knee out. I would have ran that pony until the pony was glue. Why are you changing? If winning matters so much, here, 50-18, 4 years, 2 Super Bowls, and 1 win. Why are you changing? I don't believe that. That's why I'm predicting you to go 8-9. I agree with John. The O-line was banged up. It didn't matter if teams knew what was. But then what happened in 23? So you had a bad defense. What happened to that offense that had all those turnovers that year? Had 27 turnovers and 21 turnovers in 17 ball games. What happened to that offense in 2023? You know what happened in 24? You had an iconic run game. You had the same offense. The only thing that was different was Barkley. Why did the 23 team fell apart because you had a shitty defense? Well, what happened to that offense? You had 21 turnovers in 2023 in 17 ball games. And when you got in the playoffs, you got destroyed by the Bucks. What happened? And it took an iconic run game and 2,900 yards and 18 passing touchdowns by your quarterback. Don't ever tell me Hurts had anything to do with that 2024 season. That was the year of Saquon. It's because their brand of winning didn't work when it mattered most. It's okay to evolve when everyone catches on. Fair enough. Philly doesn't care about regular season records, postseason's performance. And is that why? So in your opinion, SS, you think that 49er game was really the cherry on top that changed that offense around? Is that what you're saying? Okay. I don't think you're wrong. Sills, this fan base always talks about winning, yet are 2-3 in Super Bowls. What the fuck are we talking about? I think listen, since they won that first Super Bowl, it's been a really good organization. It has. They've changed the direction. Hey, get this. Actually, if you think about it, the Eagles as an organization got better without Andy Reid. It's pretty impressive. They're a better organization than they were with Andy Reid. Exactly, Sills. That 49er performance exposed everything that went wrong all season. Hiding behind a really good record. Yeah. Let's see. I think that was the straw that broke the camel's back. They got outclassed by a practice squad. I think you guys are right. Seals, your anger is showing for the black quarterback again. Those poor people that keep doing that. I pity you, man. I really do. I feel bad for you. When you run out of argument, you fall on the race card. It's quite pathetic. And it's quite expected. Okay? Sports is the only thing you don't have to fall on the race card, but you try like hell. Politics, you can. Sports, it's scoreboard, bitch. And I keep asking the question, you guys have such a great record over the last 4 years. Why are you changing? I wouldn't change. You're right. You win 11 games every year. You're right. You've been to 2 Super Bowls. You're right. You've got a winning formula. Why are you changing the formula? Makes no sense. It's like you know the road to get to some place of success. And now you want to take a different and charter a different route. Why? When you've never done it with a guy who's never driven. And you want him to take you to a place he's never been to. Ask yourself that most important question. How in God's name are you taking it that Sean Mannion's going to drive you to the place of success when he's never driven there before? Help me out on that. Where in God's name do you feel coming off of a road that you know how to win? You didn't change every year. This guy's making that shit up too. You don't change every year. Ask yourself this. If you know how to get to success and your floor is 11 wins every year, even in your down years, why are you asking someone to give you a different road to go on who's never driven that road? Why? You can't answer it. And you know what? I'm not going to answer it either. I'm going to go, you're not going to do it. I guess you didn't say that the offense they had was unsuitable. They couldn't keep winning like that. They won 11 ball games. You were back-to-back NFC East champions. Some of you in here got through telling me you can't win the Super Bowl every year. Okay, fair enough. True. Why are you making radical changes? And then you go down the same pathetic route of hiring a guy who's never called a play. It's obnoxious. I find it funny. The media been telling the Eagles how to play football, telling them they need to see more passing every year, as if those other passing quarterbacks went to Super Bowls. I agree. Why are you doing that then? Why do you want more in your passing game? Why are you trading up 3 spots to go get Mekhi Lemon? Why are you signing multiple wideouts? Why are you bringing in a pass coordinator instead of a run coordinator? Why? And most notably, why are you bringing in a guy who's never done shit in his life? Help me understand. Get this. Make me understand that. Let me give the key. I mean, here's one to get this. Here's one to make it even better. So, I've got a general in Jalen Hurts who has won multiple wars for me. And he has been in battle. And he has won exceptional wars. Gotten to 2 Super Bowls. And he's been through the fire. How would you feel having a guy who's never been in battle before calling plays for you? How do you feel about that? How do you feel about that? By the way, I don't mind change, but give me somebody qualified. How about a qualified guy who's been a play caller? And I get a chance to give it to a quarterback that's won for me. See this here? Give the guy a chance. Jason is saying this. Let's have on-the-job training for Jalen Hurts and have a coordinator who's on training wheels for a guy entering his 7th year in the NFL. That's what he's saying. Is let's give the guy a chance. Dude, if I was getting on an airplane and somebody just told me that he got out of flight school and we're flying across the United States, I'd be a little nervous that that's the guy's first flight, flying a plane. Or if I had to have open heart surgery, hey, I graduated from Johns Hopkins and I'm one of the top surgeons on hearts. How many heart surgeries have you done? None. You're the first. I'll tell you what, I know the guy may be qualified, but I might not want that guy cutting my chest open as the first dude. Give him a chance. Shit, guy. Good for you. I'll tell you what I'll do. You cut Jason's heart open first, and let me see how you do on him. And then I'll line up next. Okay? Should have brought in a guy with experience with running quarterback. That would have made more sense. Yeah. And here, you bring in a guy on shitty football teams to give them a chance. You don't bring in a guy who's now in a must-win year looking for a contract extension that's never called a play. Some of you people in here, look, again, we're not going to some of these folks that are posting absurdities and their infamous, like, world they live in. It's crazy, some of the comments that people make. And again, I do 7 hours of broadcasting, so for me, whatever. We're going to intelligent folks that will look at this season as one of the more entertaining years, I think, in Eagle history. I really do. Okay? And here's another one. Do you believe that Jalen Hurts will get a full year to prove he deserves a contract extension? Oh, by the way, I went back and I watched some of last year's shows in June. Every one of you told me some of the names that are in here, Hurts would have a contract extension by now. That the Eagles would have addressed it. Why haven't you? So Carter and Hurts, why haven't they given Jalen a contract extension? I went back and watched. What? Why? No. I didn't hear that from you. Okay? Since we're looking at receipts here. But wait a minute. I know. Hey, Nad, you remember these guys, and you know the names that are in here. Okay? Oh, yeah. I went back and looked at 2023, or excuse me, 2025, June 23rd, 2nd, the 21st, the 20th, and I went back and watched, and many of the names that are in here, when I asked the question, where's Jay? Here, I wrote them down. Right here. Nolan Smith will get a $25 million contract extension annually a year. They picked the 5th year up, and it's questionable if he's on the football team after his 5th year. Hurts' contract would be addressed this offseason. Here's another one. Jalen Carter will break the bank. I actually have words that one of you said. Break the bank on setting the market. Go back and watch him. I did. What happened? Did you flip-flop? Major disconnect between college football and the NFL. College are okay with RPO, and NFL, they wanted great throwers of the football. Where does college go? Kim, the NFL, there's 2 rules. Okay? In college, you're telling the kid where to throw the ball. In the NFL, okay, you got to know where to throw the ball. Sills, that's some funny shit. Oh, no, I went back because, I had people, many of the names. I'll point some of the names out. Let's see here. Let me get another guy. Here's some of the names. Hold on, I got to find another guy in here because there's one other guy. Let's see here. All the guys that thought that Hurts would have a contract and Carter was going to break the bank. Hold on. Let's see if we got somebody else in here. Let's see here. Oh, got to bring this guy in. Went back and watched. Where's that guy? Where's here he is. This guy here too. Who else? Who else here? Let's see. Right now, those are just some of the names. I went back and watched. I guess they flip-flopped. Hey, I guess you guys flip-flopped. Oh, we flip-flopped. Yeah, he's not getting a contract now. We're going to wait until 27. All right. All right. So, and by the way, once again, Drew Rosenhaus's people are saying they're miles apart. Don't sue the NFL. Don't sue the NFL. Seals, I did say JC would be extended. I eat my crow. He still may be. Hang in there, Steven. But those guys were talking about it was going to be a major, like, number one priority. He said this guy was going to have, that Jalen Carter was going to be a top priority this offseason. Well, it's not been. Okay? Killy, he said, you were one of them. I mean, so answer the question. You think Hurts gets the whole year? They don't really have too many options. I don't know. I know we don't have one, but he already beat the Eagles. Seals, I'd rather cut ties with Carter as much as I hate it, but we have Q and Coop up next year, and Jalen Hurts, according to some of you in here. Hey, Donnell, all kidding aside, and I'm going to give Howie Roseman the benefit of the doubt on dealing and being the salary cap genius he is. Do you really believe that Howie Roseman is going to open up Jeffrey Lurie's checking account, give Hurts a $65 million annual deal, 36 to Carter, 32 to Q, and 25 to Cooper DeJean? And by the way, I'll make this point to you. Cooper DeJean is more of a priority than Quinyon Mitchell. Does anybody know why? Why is Cooper DeJean at the end of this year, why is he more of a priority? There you go. See? Absolutely not. Well, guess what? You don't have the fifth-year option you could put on Quinyon Mitchell. There you go. Second round. You don't have that option. You're going to let that guy go into another season, into his final year, and let him hit the open market? Really? That guy will command $27, $28 million. Correct. He doesn't have a fifth-year option. You don't have the latitude to be able to work and manipulate. That's why Cooper, and you know how some of you in here say, contracts don't matter? Contracts matter here. You can put the fifth year on Q, hold tight, address Cooper, come back to him during the season next year even, and give him a contract extension until you figure it out. You don't want Cooper going into his final year. And at the end of the year, he gets to go into the open market. Or he has another all-pro year, and there you are sitting in March going, I got to pay this guy $30 million. That's why this next offseason on Cooper, and I expect Cooper to play great. He's going to be a first-team all-pro. I completely believe that. That's why, again, right? I would pay Coop and Q first because they are more of a priority than Hurts and Carter. Coop and Q are rare first and second rounders. Let's see here. If average Jalen is worth 65, then Prescott will command 70 in 2 years. Never in a billion years would I give that quarterback anything again in that conversation. He's not that skilled a player. He fits what they're doing. Well, did. Like I said, that was the topic. The topic was, will he get a full year to run Sean Mannion's offense? Sean Mannion's offense is going to be completely different than anything he's ever done as a quarterback in high school, college, and in the pros. So, all that stuff that he has accomplished, you can erase that. You're going to do something, again, completely different. I know many of you are butthurt in here because many of you predicted A.J. Brown wasn't going anywhere. It's okay. Cooper is not replaceable. You either have to pay Jalen or trade him. If you're going to pay Cooper and Q, he's not playing on a $22 million guarantee. No, listen, 100%. What are you going to do? Bring in Dalton? Bring in McKee? Hey, listen. And by the way, am I right when I say this? McKee's heading into his final year, right? They didn't give him a contract extension. Cooper's essential to this defense. I completely agree. All right. So here's another one. Okay. You have come off one of the best eras in football. Brandon Graham. Now, I got to tell you something. I heard Joe Krause and Johnny Mack today talking about Brandon Graham. Brandon Graham will be heading into his 17th year. Dude, the Buccaneers just went through this with Levante David. And I got to tell you, the roster spot is more important right now to the Eagles than Brandon Graham is. They need that roster spot. Whether they're going to keep more O linemen, more D linemen, more secondary guys, than doing a ceremonial parade around Philly for his 17th season. No disrespect, but you need those roster spots. And giving one up just for a ceremonial parade out the door? I mean, I said the same thing. Levante David was long in the tooth. He was long in the tooth. 2 years. That defense struggled. I'm not telling you Brandon's played bad ball. However, okay, do you want to give that spot up to who? Is there anybody on that team right now, in your opinion, that is better than Brandon Graham as a backup? I disagree with you, Sills. I believe Hurts is going to Hall of Fame at the end of his career. I think going to play another 10 years. Good luck to you. I don't believe that. So let me see something about the Eagles here, and I'll ask you to Joe Krause and to John McMullen's take. I think John was more on the aspect of, okay, here, let's go here. By the way, here's a nice little nugget that just came down. Let's see here. Looks like the Houston Texans are working on a contract extension for C.J. Stroud. Stroud and the Texans are close to a deal as of today. Houston and the quarterback are in a tricky spot because of last season, and Stroud could be in the $55 to $60 million a year range, according to the Houston Chronicle. So that deal right now is just about done in Houston. So that's a little nugget there. Right now, also, the Ravens would like to have the contract extension for Lamar Jackson by the beginning of training camp. Baker Mayfield said things have not moved since June 5th. They are at a sticking point. That's not going well, and rightfully so. So, let me get to the teams over here, though. Okay. So let me see if I agree with Joe, because I heard Joe talking about Brandon Graham. All right. So BG's not on the team right now. Brandon Graham better than Brian Young? Is he better than Ty Robinson? And I disagree 1,000% with John McMullen's take that the Eagles are deep at defensive tackle. Like, here are the starters: Carter, Davis, Morrow. Those are your down linemen. Here's the guys behind them: Ty Robinson, Zion Wilson, Brian Young, Gabe Hall. Okay. I guess so. Hey, just because you have volume names doesn't mean you have quality names. And let's not forget something. You were 22nd against the rush last year. Wasn't like you were killing people on the run. We'll see. Ty's not shown shit. Young's a good player. Zion Wilson, I have no idea who he is. Gabe Hall's been a perennial practice guy. We'll see. To me, Brandon Graham's better than any one of those guys. I could play him at edge, and I could play him at D tackle. And if he still has anything left in the juice or left in the can, I'd bring him back. How important is that roster spot? Does Brandon Graham cover that roster spot in ability with who you have on the team? Who would you feel more comfortable with, Ty Robinson or Zion Williams, as backups on your football team? I'd feel comfortable with Brandon Graham. This is not about kissing his ass. This is about, like, can he play and help my football team? And by the way, stop with this guy. You mean to tell me you think a football player who's never played a down in his life is going to contribute more than Brandon Graham? You know, sometimes the conversation just goes so sideways. A 17th year veteran. What do you think the chances of landing on Jordan Mailata again are? 0. 0. And I'm talking about, he's a beast. Zion Wilson is a beast. Let's see what this beast has done. Funny. There's no stats. There's no information. I get it. He's a rookie. And you think he's going to be a guy that's going to be better than Brandon Graham. I'll take Brandon Graham all day. It's some desperation if BG has to come back. Okay, Forrest, who do you have on your football team that's better than him if you have to play a backup? Who do you think is better than Brandon Graham? Who? Who do you think? Okay. Sills. In 24, they were deep. This year, they're okay at DT depth, but not strong. And you got to remember, too, here's something to think about, okay? Remember something. What your football team was in 24 and what your starters were and where you've dropped off since. Your starting defensive line in 2024. How about this? Depth chart. Your depth chart for your Super Bowl champion team. 24 Eagles. And I'll show you. So here's your depth chart for the 2024 Philadelphia Eagles on defense. Okay? Interior-wise, you had Jalen Carter. You had Jordan Davis. And you had Milton Williams. Okay? And your backups that year were Thomas Booker and Moro Ajomo. In 2026, here's what you have. You have Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Ajomo, Brian Young, and Ty Robinson. Are you better today as a group, interior-wise, or are you lesser of a football team? Are you better now, or are you a lesser group? Okay? Okay? You're lesser. Never seen my Cowboys lose a Super Bowl. That's the difference. Ooh. Someone said we have good depth. Even with Carter, we don't have good depth. Wait, I just read it. I just read it. Davis, Carter, Ajomo are your starters interior. Your backups are, I just read it. Byron Young and Ty Robinson. Your Super Bowl team was Carter, Davis, Milton Williams, Moro Ajomo, and Thomas Booker were your backups. Are you better today than you were then? Yes or no? One thing I could say, Sills, Vic makes me not worry. So fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. You've probably never seen him in the Super Bowl. Okay. Why won't you answer? Are you better today or lesser today? John McMullen says that you have depth. You think you're a better unit today than you were in 24? Where? Your Super Bowl team was Carter, Davis, and Williams. Your backups were Jomo, Thomas Booker. Your starting team now is Davis, Carter, and Ajomo, and your backups are Ty Robinson and Booker. You mean to tell me you really think you got a better starting or a better 5 today than you did then? Hey, dude, if you think that, again, our conversations are going to be very short. They're going to be very short. If I had to use a spot to keep BG, I'd obviously do it over wasting one on. Hey, that kid that you got from Nigeria, you know what I would do? I would put him and keep him. I would cut his ass and put him on the practice squad. Nobody's going to pick him up. And put him on the practice squad and keep him there. Now, again, you take the chance of losing somebody like that. But why would somebody pick a dude up and put him on their active roster who's never played it down? It doesn't make sense. Are you really going to keep a 7th round pick who never played and give him a roster spot? And he's never seen the field. That could happen. Put his ass on IR. McMullen seems to think he won't clear waivers. Okay, he's a 7th round dude with no game experience. Now, somebody could claim him to be an asshole to Howie. Clean slate of what? Kim. Let me see something here. Let me just go. And by the way, the Jordan melodic comparisons are not, because rugby is a lot like pro football. Ugh. It's a lot like pro ball. NFL wants international games. Yes. You're going to put a guy and give a guy a roster spot who will have no impact or zero impact on your team versus cutting Brandon Graham or not giving Graham the ability to play and contribute to your football team just so you can appease the NFL. It doesn't sound very Howie-ish. Just I got hopes on the McWilliams kid for fighting for a slot. I hear good things about that kid back there. Going into the season, we didn't expect Ajomo to play as well. We don't know what your depth is until games are played. Okay, so Twiz, right now, you think going into your training camp, what, you're better today than you were then? Or you're just going like this? Who knows? And by the way, Carter didn't play as well as he did in 24. So you're a lesser group in effort alone. Good question. I haven't had this asked yet. How much did you pay Carter? I haven't been asked that. Highest paid defensive tackles. NFL. I'm not paying him more than Chris Jones, and I'm not paying him more than Jeffrey Simmons at 35-2. And giving him $100 million in guaranteed. That's the holdup, by the way. The total guarantees. Dexter Lawrence is 28. I'm paying him more than Milton. And I've got to pay him more than Jordan. How much is that 5th-year option worth right now? Carter's 5th-year option is what? Carter's salary Let me start there. Carter's salary in 2026 is what? So Jalen Carter is still working on a salary. His 2000, here it is. 2026. He's got a base of 1.145 with a signing bonus of 3.2 and a roster bonus of 2.5. Holy shit. And what? So he's making how much this year? Like 6 million, 7 million bucks. And the club picked up the fifth year at 27-1 for 27. How much is Jordan Davis making in 26? Is he making more? No doubt Drew Rosenhaus is pissed off. No, he's not. 4? He's making 4. His money doesn't really kick in. His money doesn't kick in until, 2020, until next year. That's when his money starts kicking in. And you start seeing it getting elevated. 27, 28, 29. He's got 18 million. And he's got a $13 million signing bonus. And then it starts kicking in. But the void years are crazy. They've got 4 void years on him. So basically, they could get out from the contract after 2028 or potential out in 29. It's not that great a deal if you look at it. Those back-end deals are 4 years of void, which means they're going to restructure him. It'll be 30. Hopefully, he's not a 2-down player by then. That's not that wild of a deal. Yor will be determined on the field for, will a detriment on the field for at least 2 years. You think a guy like Vic Fangio is going to put a dude on a football field that doesn't know his scheme or doesn't know technique on how to play a scheme? Good luck. Okay? Sills, they would make a built construction worker trying out for the Eagles look like Aaron Donald. It's funny. You're dead right. He ran AJ out of town. Now Carter. This guy won't be happy until they trade all their players. Maybe because the Eagles didn't think this still Sileo could play. Yeah, kid. I ran AJ Brown out of town. That'd be like saying that Mark Holmes is going to run Dak out of town. I didn't run no AJ out of town. Your quarterback ran AJ out of town. Stop moaning. That's what ran your asses out of town. Hey, by the way, I had Dan Shaughnessy from the Boston Herald said this to me. And he asked me this yesterday. Sills, the guy was one of the highest paid players in the league. They won 50 ball games in 4 years. He was third all-time in receptions over that time frame. Why did he want out? I'm like, well, this is what happens when you're in a marriage. You either love your old lady, like me and Mark Holmes. I've been married to my old lady for over 35 years. How you doing? Is it 35, honey? Is it 35, honey? She's not going to answer. She's probably drinking Coronas. Then again, she never answers me anyway. So it's about 35 years, 35, 37. I don't know. She must be mad at me. That means we must be low in Coronas. So, and then, you look at it and you go, I'm pretty cool, man. I love this chick. She loves me. We're good. We're ready to rock. It's all good. I'm going to stick this bitch out. Not calling her that. I'm saying I'm going to stick this whole thing out. Excuse me. That's not what I'm calling her. All right. Then you do this. Damn. I got to stick with this thing for the next 20 years. Whew, baby. You think I could sit around like Mark Combs building a house and redoing a house for the next 20 years with this chick? Yeah, no. I'm not doing that, man. Big Sills is checked out. I want my walking papers. I'm going to do this. I don't care what you want. You can take it all. I'm out of here. But that's who AJ was. AJ, you had all the accolades. You won 2 NFC titles. You won a Super Bowl. You won the admiration of millions, including all these crazy Eagle fans. And now you're in a place where you really love and really loves you. You're now in New England. You see him smiling up there? I haven't seen AJ Brown smile in a long time. You see him smiling? He's up there going like, man, this is really great. This is really wild. This is really a lot of fun. How come I couldn't have this much fun? How come I couldn't have this much fun in Philly? Because he couldn't open his mouth and he couldn't tell the truth. He couldn't say what was really on his mind. You see, that's the one difference with Dallas and the Dallas Cowboys. You know why I learned something about Cristiano Ronaldo? And I'm going to compare this to the Cowboy guys. Do you know why Dak and CD and some of these other guys can say what they want? They got FU money. And when you got FU money, you really don't give a shit what people think about what you think of them or anything else. You got FU money. You think Dak gives a shit what people think about his relationships with some chick? I don't think so. You know why? Because every Tuesday on direct deposit day, Dak's doing this. How you doing, Mark? All those videos you want to do? I don't give a shit what you say, or Sileo, by the way, because I've got FU money being directly deposited into my account. You see Ronaldo the other day at the World Cup? Some guy started talking to him about Lionel Messi, and he goes like this, yeah, okay. Over here, he goes, no. He goes, yeah. I wish more of our professional athletes dealt with that and put these media people in their place. It just went like this. Can you see Dak standing up there in front of the Dallas media going, hey, shut the hell up? That's what I'd like to see our athletes doing. When you see Messi and you see Ronaldo talking to the media, they take enormous dumps on them. They're like, hey, guy, I'm Cristiano Ronaldo, and you are again? Oh, yeah, that's right. You're Diana Rossini making $800,000 a year. And everyone's like, wow, did you see the money she made? Cristiano Ronaldo spends that in his hotel room. Dude, I love these guys, these World Cup dudes. I do. All right. By the way, real quick before I bring the two fellas in, I got accused the other day of loading up the questions for Philly 500 versus Mark. And by the way, Philly's never bitched about it. But they say, Sills, why does Philly get tougher questions asked to him compared to what Mark Holmes gets? So we're going to try to be fair and balanced today. And my boy Mark Holmes is in a good place. He's sitting back on the lounge chair in the sippy cup room right now with his Dallas Cowboy cup and his jersey right there. What's the shirt say, my friend?
Oh, man.
More Eagles drama. What the F is going on? And without further ado, let's bring in my man, the king of the lids, Philly 500. He joins us now. More Eagle.
New low. A new low.
Please.
Wow.
Oh,
Eagles
boy.
drama.
Yes.
Literally
don't you love it?
There is no drama. Your drama, you're 2 years behind with the drama.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
You understand that? We've already heard all the drama. It's 2 years old. 2 years old.
2 years old. Well, source seems to be on the surface right now. Your boy Lloyd Brunson, who's kind of an insider there, talking about everything with Jalen Hurts and everything else, and how the front office wants to get rid of him.
No, wait.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, not the front office. Excuse me. The coaching wants to get rid of him.
Wait a minute. So let me write this down here. Let me start this off first and foremost with Philly 500 here with Jalen Carter.
Okay.
Drama.
Now, Philly. Well, wait. According to Drew Rosenhaus, they are going to have a hold-in during training camp this fall when camp starts the 28th. How does that affect the negotiations if he's not in a full practice this fall?
I don't know. I guess there's two ways to look at it, right? If he's in there doing all the drills and he blows his knee out, God forbid, then everybody's going to say, why would you be doing all those drills when you're on the verge of a new contract? And if it pushes both sides to get done, I have no problem with it. I think that when you're in negotiations for a contract and you're close, I think sometimes doing something like that can be beneficial. It depends on the individual circumstance, for sure. But I think the Eagles are going to get something done, and I think they're closer than what has been reported. And that's why they're doing it, because they know they're close.
But if I had a 25-year-old defensive tackle who was holding out and I was worried about him getting hurt, that's the reason they're pausing, is because of the injury concerns that he had a year ago. I mean, you're 25 years old. If I'm worried about injury concerns, then where the Eagles are right to be pausing here on this contract extension.
Well, I don't think it's necessarily because they're worried about injuries with him. I think this is something that we have seen in the league over the course of several years where players have done this, not just on the Eagles, not even just on the Cowboys, but across the league, we have seen this where guys won't do anything till their contract is done. And it just takes time. We saw that in Washington last year with Terry McLaurin. They did the same exact thing and it got done. So I don't think necessarily the fact that he's doing a hold-in or not doing certain drills means that he's worried specifically about him as an injury problem, as more of that just goes with the territory. So I don't have an issue with it if the contract gets done. Now, if the contract doesn't get done and it's just a waste of time, then I question why do it. But that we won't know until it happens.
Go ahead, Mark.
Here's the problem, though. Okay, I hear what you're saying, that this is just, we're going to get the deal done, everybody's going to be happy and kumbaya. But I can tell you from personal experience of whenever we've had guys holding out or holding in, they end up getting injuries, and their seasons are shit.
It can happen, yeah.
Because you look at Terry McLaurin last year, he held out till training camp was over with, till he got his contract. His season was crap. You can look at Micah Parsons last year. He ended up getting traded to Green Bay, supposedly with back and stuff, and then ended up getting injured. And hell, he may miss at least half of the season this year. CeeDee Lamb didn't get his contract till after training camp. He ended up being injured and nicked up all season. So it's not a good thing to miss training camp, especially now that there's so many few practices in the offseason. He held in training camp. So when is his ass going to get in shape to be ready to play football?
I think he is in shape. I think he's in shape, and I think that was one of the issues which they were waiting to see was how was he this spring? How did he look? And if you've seen Jalen Carter, he looks like he's in absolutely great shape. So I expect things to get done. But yeah, of course,
can I ask somebody who's an expert about the shape? Hold on. Can I ask somebody about being in shape and being in football shape? being Dan Sileo? What is being in shape and being in football shape?
They're not in the same room.
Yeah, you can look. You know, a guy can look like a marathoner, but put his ass out on a football field.
I don't care what a guy does on a treadmill.
Yeah,
I mean, of course, there's a difference. Of course, he has to get in a football shape. Nobody is debating that. But you guys are acting like he's not showing up for camp. He'll be at camp. He might not take part in certain drills and certain things.
He will show up.
Hopefully that will get taken care of sooner rather than later. But to make a judgment right now on it, I don't think we can, because we don't know how it plays out. Teams and players do this, and when you look at the Cowboys specifically, I don't think they're a good example, because Dallas always has contract disputes with their players. That's like every year thing. So
why you know why the Cowboys have contract disputes every year? Because they're market setting deals. They're not talking about cutting a deal with the third OT and Carter's not better than Jeffrey Simmons. He's just not a better player. I mean, he's not a better football player. And you want to pay a guy $35 million, $36 million for a guy who's not a better football player than even the other guy in Dallas yet. I mean, look, and I'm going to go here with you and I'll say it. I've said this stuff before about Jerome Brown type talent. Do I think the kid could be? Yeah, but again, paying for potential like that versus paying for a guy that shows up like Quinyon Mitchell shows up every single day. He's freaking great. Cooper's great every day. Minicamp, OTAs, football games. He's great. You want to pay that. So again, I'm going to get back to this here in a second here, Philly. And I got to ask Mark this.
Uh-oh.
Hey, Mark, how much of the 2026 season is going to indicate the future of CeeDee Lamb? And follow me here when I say this. Bro, if that kid Pickens shows me he could be a Jamar Chase type football player, and that guy puts up a second 1,700-yard receiving season and 120, I got to tell you, if I'm Jerry Jones, I'm looking at, hey, CD, that kid's younger, and to me, he's at a more coveted position out there out wide. Could Pickens make himself the future of the passing game? If this guy has another season like that?
I've actually said that, because with me, I looked at it and said the Cowboys would be stupid not to go ahead and extend him longer. You got to look at CeeDee Lamb. He had that great season 2 years ago, 1,700 yards. The last 2 years, he's been a little bit nicked up and he's slowed down, and he's a little bit older, and he has the drops. And you look at now, George Pickens is a younger guy. I believe after next year, the Cowboys actually could have an out with CeeDee Lamb, and you could look at that and say, I got the next guy right here. Now, my thought process, at least, and I could be completely wrong, is one of the reasons why they've held off on George Pickens is they're trying to see what Ryan Fenoy is. If Ryan Fenoy is really stepping up and becomes really good, then one of those guys becomes expendable. And that's where they're kind of gambling with the price tag going up. We're probably looking at $50 million for wide receivers by next year. But by all means, you have to look at it and say CeeDee Lamb is not going to be great for that many more years. He's about to eclipse Des Bryant's yards this year, I think, with only 45 yards. Got a lot of miles on him.
Remember, too, always talk about the cash, too, because the Cowboys get relief if they move off that dude, too, where you can go and do something and try to get – again, here's the problem that I have with where the Eagles are going into this year when it comes to the wideout. Really, nobody's had a problem with Devontae Smith. Okay, look, the drop-off here from AJ to Devontae, maybe this much, right? Mm-hmm. But, dude, from the second guy to Devontae, look at what you had a year ago. Bro, you had two really good wide receivers last year that were compatible with one another, right? You got a collection of dudes right now. And to me, the question mark is for you, Philly, I mean, how does that number 2 spot? And then if you're going to spread the ball out, who's your even number 3 guy? I mean, you got a bunch of guys in there. I'm not saying they're dog shit. I'm just saying that's quite a drop-off from what you've been the last 4 years.
Yeah, well, I think when you look on paper, there's no question that there's a drop-off, right? But depending upon how they perform the whole season we'll see. I think one of the question marks is who is going to step up as a wide receiver. These are one of the questions we go in the season not knowing. I think they've got guys who have a lot of talent to have the opportunity to, but they've got to go do it. I'm not saying anybody's going to be on A.J. Brown's level or even on a Devontae Smith level, but I do think that somebody will rise up and be that guy. I don't know who yet. This is something we're waiting to see.
Okay. A person in here, and where is she? I got to bring this up here because this is her take, and I don't want to plagiarize here. So Kim said something yesterday, and Philly, this is to you. So how about this too, Mark? I want you to comment on this. So would you agree that Jordan Davis last year, Philly, had a breakout kind of year, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would.
All right. Would you agree with this? If he proves he's a 3-down football player and he proves that he's the guy that they just gave that contract extension and he's the 4th highest paid interior defensive tackle, does that hurt or help the negotiations with Carter? Because here's the deal, bro. You're not going to pay $25 million to Jonathan Grenard, $37 million or $36 million to Carter, and a $25 million deal for Jordan Davis. And you still got $200 million on that offensive side of the football. And you've got Quinyon Mitchell and you've got Cooper DeJean to have to deal with in the offseason and potentially a $63 million deal with Hurts. So does Davis's play this year maybe dictate a little bit on what Carter's play looks like? Because if he doesn't show up and Davis outplays him again, bro, I think the story's written.
Well, I think obviously if he shows up and he doesn't play well, yeah, I mean, then you can say what's going on. But I actually think that this helps Jalen Carter. I think it sets a standard on, look what Jordan Davis did. I think Jordan Davis is a great example and could be a great mentor to Jalen Carter, who just went through it where he had to go out and prove himself. Now, I think that depending upon, obviously you're not going to pay all these guys a bunch of money, but I think that when you build a roster, I think there are different ways in which teams, they change and they kind of like switch up what they do. I think building a defensive line that has 2 really, really good defensive tackles who are all pro level, let's say Carter lives up to his ability, and let's say Davis gets better. I think that that's a team and a way of building a roster that you don't see from a lot of teams. And it can create a real opportunity for the Eagles to really set the standard. We've seen the league try to copy the Eagles a lot. So I think having 2 all-pro defensive tackles would actually give you some ability to, maybe get edge rushers who have specific skills or maybe are a little bit younger. And I think there's a way to handle it if they're that good, because if those guys are taking on double teams and they're unstoppable in that interior, I think you'll get production from somebody. You'll be able to find.
So you're cool with $62 million between.
I would be, yeah. And I think that you don't do that. You don't draft Jalen Carter when you already drafted Jordan Davis. You already had. I believe the Eagles have already thought about that.
So with all that
that's
being
already
said,
been included.
All that being said, then you're letting a Jomo walk in if he has another productive year, right?
Well, if I have to pay him $26 million, I am.
Yeah, like if you have to pay him a Milton Williams deal, you're letting him walk out.
Yeah, because especially if Jalen Carter goes out there and has a Pro Bowl year and is awesome, and Jordan Davis continues to be awesome, which I believe will happen. Then why? Yeah, of course.
Okay,
it sounds great in theory.
Mark, the last 2 years they would have gotten rid of Milton Williams, Josh Sweat, Moro Ajomo, and let Jalen Phillips walk out the door for 2 dudes. You let 4 guys go for 2 dudes. Okay. I mean, that's the price of doing business when you're paying big money because, and you know what? That's the problem with the Cowboys. The Cowboys don't spread the cap money around because they give these high-end guys these deals, and before you know it, you're gutting your O-line.
Yeah, well, this is the reason why they didn't sign Micah Parsons. You could have Micah Parsons, or you can end up having all of the stuff that you have there. Quentin Williams, Kenny Clark, getting a chance to get Caleb Downs. in there, Rashawn Gary. That's the problem of having the big contracts of two guys on the interior defensive line. Yeah, you can stop the run, but if your secondary is not able to keep everybody, then you got problems. And that's been our problem for years. We always have the mega deals. We always have 6 or 7 top contract, really great players, but then you go to the next level or other positions that are real weak. This year, we'll see how it all works out, but we don't have as many superstars, but we have a lot of really good players. And that's what the Eagles have done in the past and why you've won the Super Bowls. You've had very few weak spots, but now the Bills are coming due.
The Bills have been coming due, according to you, for the last 20 years.
You've been
and they're still not paid.
You've been kicking them down the road, though.
Okay. I hate trying to compare anything to Dallas, a team that is not even in the ball game. You know why you ask me the tough questions? Because with great power comes great responsibility. That's right. And my team is a team that is in the game. They're in the Super Bowl. See, I like that you do it because what it shows, and everybody knows it, is that you have more expectations for the Eagles and you hold them to a higher standard than the Cowboys. So ask away. I love it. But I do not think Howie Roseman does anything.
I tell you what, Philly,
I do not think Howie Roseman does anything.
You might not be crying, but I think you're sweating a little bit about this season. Are you telling me that you're confident that this season is going to be a great season for you guys?
Yes, I think the Eagles will win in the Super Bowl. How about that?
Oh shit! Okay, all right,
okay.
You really look like you're convinced there. It looks like.
Look at me. Look at these beady yellow eyes.
Oh, Lord.
This guy's going to come off the top rope on me because if they win the Super Bowl, man, because I got them winning 8 ball games this year, and I'm not deviating off that. So I got
to be right one of these years, Sil.
I've been right 4 of the 5 years. 24 got me good, dude. 22, I thought they'd go to the Super Bowl. I really did. With all the moves they made, I couldn't believe it. That was a well-constructed roster. And what he did in the offseason.
One thing I want to say, though, like, I do not believe Howie Roseman does anything based upon a 2-3 year window. He is looking down the road. There is no way, in my opinion, that he did not draft 2 defensive tackles that were #1 picks and said, yes, at some point we may have to pay both those guys.
Yeah, but environment changes, though, Philly. Environment
I understand the environment changes, but I don't think the environment has changed enough where you get rid of Jalen Carter.
I'm not there. I'm not there yet, but John Ritchie over at IP goes, hey, listen, man, I'm starting to get, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know. It'd have to be a superstar deal here, but hey, Mark, I want to read you a list here. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
So Chris Sims came out with his top quarterbacks in the NFL this year going into the 26th season.
What do you have, 22nd for Hurts?
Hold on here. They got Josh Allen 1. They got Joe Burrow 2. They got Lamar Jackson 3. Mahomes 4. Matthew Stafford 5. Caleb Williams 6. Justin Herbert 7. Drake May 8. Jaden Daniels 9. Mayfield 10. I don't agree with all these. Dak Prescott 11. Trevor Lawrence 12. Jared Goff 13. Sam Darnold 14. Jordan Love 15. Bo Nix 16. Brock Purdy 17. Daniel Jones 18. This is the wildest of all. Malik Willis 19. CJ Stroud 20.
Oh, shit.
And there's the greatness of Jalen Hurts sitting at 21. What do you make of the greatness of Chris Sims' quarterback list for 2026? They got Malik Willis ranked ahead of the guy.
What that is I'm trying to get people to watch. Let me say some outrageous shit that'll piss some people off, and they'll watch and they'll click.
Willis.
By any means necessary, get people to watch your
shit. I'm not even there with that list. What do you make of it, Philly? How come all the disrespect that Hurts gets, and now also, too, they're now saying that 2026 could be his final season as a starting quarterback.
It'll be his final season. They're going to trade Jalen Carter. They're going to get rid of this guy. They're just going to give Carter the deal yet? Tear everybody up.
Well, I do
think they're because I do think there are legitimate issues that they have to work out. I do. I think that's fair, but I don't think it's to the extreme that is being portrayed. You know, when I put on WIP and they're talking about trading Jalen Carter for Max Crosby, I think that's crazy to me.
Where's Hurts's deal?
You're too early. Ask me next year.
So you're going to let him go into a contract? You're going to let him go into a year with no money next year?
He'll be taken care of. He knows it. This was the plan all along. That's why his cap number is like what, 31 million this year.
Well,
he baked everything in. They already baked everything in.
Mark, so according to Philly just there, Jeffrey Simmons got ahead and reset the market at 35.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to let Lamar Jackson set the market at 63, and that you're going to have to come in next year and pay him $65 million?
Technically, isn't Mahomes actually at 64 now with his extension?
Yeah, he's at 63.
Okay. All right. So, yeah. This is the George Pickens situation. Right now, like I said, next year it might be $50 million for wide receivers.
Jesus criminy.
That's the way it's headed. Again, defensive tackles, 35.3.
Will Anderson Jr. right now makes more money than Hurts. He does. You got guys right now making more money than the starting quarterback in Philly with that reputation and that resume, and the Eagles haven't given him a new deal, and clearly Cole Lynn wanted it and asked for it.
Can I give an opinion?
I didn't hear any reports that she asked for it. New deal and was rejected. I never heard that.
Can I give an opinion from the outside?
How in God's name do you not go to an organization going when everyone else right now? Stroud's going to get this. Did you hear today that the Texans? I don't think shit of Stroud. They're close to a $55 to $60 million deal extension with C.J. Stroud.
He had one good year as
rookie. Philly, you know how he doesn't like to get. He loves to get ahead of the curve, like he did when he did with Cam Jurgens.
Mm-hmm.
He did with anyone else. He did actually with Jalen at one time. Now he's not going to.
Well, I think when you look at what happened with Jalen and his contract he got before, where he specifically wanted them to have cap room and be able to have wiggle room, he kind of baked all the restructures kind of in that contract already. I think the Eagles know with Jalen Hurts when the contract is done and they do the deal, it's going to be set up team friendly in a lot of regards because they want to continue to have a good team on the field. So I think it's different. I think they know what they're doing. I think they know how to handle it. And do I think that they do want to see how this season goes? Yeah, I think so. I think that's going to play a factor. So I think this is a big season for a lot of reasons, but I don't think that not getting a deal done this year is some insult against Jalen Hurts, in my opinion. And let me say this too. Lord Brunson saying that the coaches may not want him. I don't know anything about that, but I would not be surprised. You let Nick Sirianni's best friend go, right? He didn't want to take any responsibility. That's not a surprise to me at all. So, and I could care less, really.
I think you just hit on something there. Do you agree that everyone has an ego and gets their feelings hurt at times? Sometimes an ego plays a factor in building and tearing teams down. You believe that,
yes.
Philly?
Yes.
Well, do you believe then that Nick Sirianni blames Jalen Hurts for getting Kevin Patullo, his boy, fired?
Well, that's what that Twitch is saying. I'm blaming Nick. No, I'm not blaming Nick. I'm just saying what the stories out there that the coaches have a problem. Well, Nick's a coach. So, yeah, I could see Nick getting upset about that, sure.
So you think that relationship may be a little bit damaged then because his buddy got fired? And by the way,
I don't know.
Mark, if you listen to Kevin Patullo down in Miami, you would think the guy built the Taj Mahal of offenses, being part of the Philadelphia Eagle offense. He's down there taking victory laps that he was part of the success of the football team the last 5 years. You heard that, right, Philly?
I heard it. Yeah.
Okay.
To my amazement, I did hear it.
Can I say from the outside looking in, to me, what it sounds like is Howie Roseman is leaving his options open. That if things don't go right, and you've got an out with Saquon, of course, next year, and the same thing with Hurts and with Jalen Carter. If the year doesn't go well, blow it up, get rid of those guys, get what you can, and start over. He is a guy who's not going to go ahead and just let the team just age out and try and say we're a player or two away. He'll restart the button in a heartbeat, and that's exactly where he's set up right now.
And I don't know. I tell you what, that's a pretty big comment being made now that the coaches in the building don't like the kid.
Mm-hmm.
Well, again, I this is the first I've heard of it. I mean,
I'm not blaming you.
Show that damn shirt again. Mark, show that shirt again.
More drama.
Look at that. More Eagle drama going on. Look at that.
Yeah, Mark better enjoy his all season because it's quickly coming to an end, and then reality sets in. And when reality sets in, you know what happens. By the time the season starts, Mark will be like, "I got to start with a drink. Let me get a drink here.
My time is coming, bro. My time is coming.
It's coming. So enjoy this because all you have is the all season."
Mark,
that's it.
How good is your boy? Is Christian Parker going to be the next Dave Wannstedt of defensive coordinators? And is he going to build one of the greatest defenses in Dallas Cowboy history? And I'm going to dare say this. Please forgive me now.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Are we looking at Doomsday 3?
Oh, shit. I wouldn't even go there yet. Okay. Can they at least have a padded practice first? Okay. Now, I will say this. The first thing you have to do is you have to get the players to buy into what you're doing. I don't think that Matt Everpuss, and I called him Everpuss, okay, ever got anybody to believe a damn thing that he said. But he's got this defense, and he's brought some of his Philly trash talking and everything else. He's got these guys pumped up, and they're ready to run through a brick wall. Now, they're very young. You've got a lot of new players and stuff, but the thing that I like about this team this year for the first time, we've got basically our whole team together and went through OTAs and mini camp together to start working. Typically, we're bringing in guys that are going to play significant time at the end of training camp or the beginning of the season. So I believe they're going to definitely be more improved. And if they can get more takeaways, the Cowboys were second worst at intercepting the football. Only the Jets were worse. If they can do that, get a couple more turnovers for Dak Prescott, you're going to see an offense that's going to be really scoring this year. So, yes, we could be talking about a really good defense. I reserve the doomsday defense talk.
I'm going to ask Philly this, and then I'm going to get a retort from you on this here, Mark. Philly, is this a fair statement? The Dallas Cowboys have a better offense than the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Eagles have a better defense than the Cowboys' defense heading into the fall camp, and a more proven offense heading into the fall camp. Now, remember something. I put context on this, though, and let me put an asterisk here. If you guys were running it back on what you had been doing the last 4 years, and you had AJ, and you had a more experienced play caller, I would probably say, listen, they're closer, but because 2 of the last 3 years, the offense has not been that great, and the Cowboys have had an elite offense this last year. I mean, the receivers are better, 1 and 2. I don't know they're deeper. I think you're deeper, if that's fair. I think you're better internally in the offensive line, Mark. They're better at the tackle position. What says you, Philly? Is that a fair comment?
I think on paper right now, on paper, I think that's fair.
Okay.
On paper.
But where you maybe get the advantage on defense, where you get the advantage also on defense is you got better coaching there right now, right?
But I also think that if there are certain things that will change that very quickly. Like if you tell me that Landon Dickerson and Cam Jurgens are at full health this year and are back, and we're getting the offensive line from 2. Well, I'm saying that's why I'm saying on paper right now. But there are circumstances. If that offensive line is healthy and ready to go, I think it completely changes this conversation.
Okay, well,
100%.
I'm going to agree with Yale here saying I expect the Eagle offense to be better, but I'm expecting the Cowboy defense to be better, aren't you, Mark?
Can't be any worse. We were the worst defense in football last year. We definitely have better personnel. We went into the season basically relying on Diggs, who was coming back from a second knee situation, who was pissed off because they took up $500,000 from him. We ended up drafting a guy that we were expecting to have significant time, Saban Rebel, who didn't play but 2 games of his senior year because he tore his ACL. And we had a linebacker, Overshown, that we hoped to come back from a catastrophic injury, who didn't come back till November. Everybody else was just basically a ham sandwich we put out on the field. You can legitimately say that having Quentin Williams here in the training camp for a full season, Kenny Clark out there, getting, of course, Caleb Downs back there, along with the guys like D. Winters. We've got better talent and a more motivated staff that the players are buying in. So there's nowhere to go but up.
Aren't you concerned about the play of Deron Bland? I mean, are you concerned about him? Because you know why?
I'm concerned not so much about the play as the injuries, because every year the dude is always injured. He's got the plantar fasciitis. He's still not able to practice yet. He can't seem to stay on the field healthy. So, yes, there is a concern there.
A couple last ones here for you guys. Hey, Philly, Lane Johnson would be a successful year. How many games played? North of what? Give me a number.
I mean, I want him to play every game, but I'd say 12 to 13 games and playoffs.
So 12 to 13 games. You get 12, 13 games. You think you can prove I agree, because I think he only played 10 last year, right?
Yeah, I think that's a successful season, most likely for him. Yes.
Okay. What's your biggest strength? Last one here, Mark. What's your biggest strength and your biggest weakness heading into training camp?
Biggest strength would be our wide receiving core. Our biggest weakness would be our offensive tackles.
Okay. Philly, the biggest strength and the biggest weakness heading into training camp 34 days from now.
I think the Eagles' secondary is actually their biggest strength, and I think it's going to be the best in the league. I think the biggest weakness for the Eagles, I think right now, is probably specifically the safety position, but you could also say questions about the health of the offensive line. And I think that offensive line is the big issue.
You know what? And I think some of you guys are right in here. If you're going to be really kind of questioning Sean Mannion, you do have to question Christian Parker and what he's going to look like. I think that's fair. No, Mark. I think that's a fair conversation, right?
I can agree. But, I can say I haven't heard too many negative things about the Cowboys defense coming out of there. You've got so much stuff that's happening. Losing A.J. Brown. Now you got a rookie in there with Lemon who's been injured. You got the whole Jalen Hurts, whether there's smoke or fire. And I'm going to say, understanding when you have questions like this, that every day in training camp, that the talking heads are going to ask, well, how's the relationship in the locker room with Jalen Hurts? How's that going and things? How's McCall? Those are distractions that you don't want to have. And typically you Eagles don't have them. We always have them. I can't believe we don't have a contract situation that we're even dealing with this year.
Wow, man, Philly, you got a lot of – look at that shirt there, man.
Mark equates being some sort of drama meaning that his team's going to have some great season and ours.
No.
My team has shown and proven that whether they have drama or not, they can handle any situation thrown their way.
Bro,
I am not worried about it.
Bro, you have never had drama like having your
really. I watched Sileo do sit-ups and push-ups.
You've never had drama like your starting running back holding out, drinking Coronas at the beach, and your owner saying Zeke who. You've never had your best player on defense taking a freaking nap on the training table during the game.
Right. They had a guy reading War and Peace on the sideline.
I see the guy read a book on the sideline. I see the guy do push-ups and sit-ups in his driveway. Don't tell me we didn't have drama.
Hey, Mark, one final thought here. Jalen Carter, the next Albert Hainsworth.
Woo!
That's ridiculous.
What a take.
What a horrible take. What a horrible take.
Albert Haynesworth. Horrible take. Albert Haynesworth. Wait a second here. Let me take a look.
He doesn't even believe it.
Hold on here, Albert.
I don't know there, Philly.
Let me see here. Albert Haynesworth. What did he end up doing? So Albert Haynesworth was
he got paid in Washington and sat
he
on
was
his
a
fat ass.
3-time Pro Bowler. He was a Defensive Player of the Year at one time in 2008. And you're calling him Albert Haynesworth. Wow.
That's the good stuff right there of it.
Mm-hmm.
How about him stepping on Andre Gerard's face?
Oh,
him going to Washington and watching Mike Vick
really
circles around him while he laid his fat ass on the field.
Damn, dude.
Yeah, that's Albert Haynesworth. I think Jalen Carter.
Well, there's still time.
Jalen Carter looks really good, actually. He looks like he's put a lot of work in, and he looks in pretty good shape. So I think he's going to have a big year. Well, that's okay. Would you want him to come in shape and not be ready to play? I mean, what is it? It's like these guys can't win either way with you guys.
No. Davis did
that. No matter what you do.
Davis did that last year and it paid off. No, I'm not saying that.
I mean, if you want to question somebody on the Eagles that is more, to me, a questionable year and a proven year, it's Nolan Smith. Nolan Smith, to me, is the guy we should be talking about, not Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter wants a contract extension. The Eagles, they have issues giving it to him right away. We're seeing the delay, take place right now. I don't think necessarily that's going to be all year.
Hold on here.
I don't think it's going to be all.
Just hold on for 1 second.
Of course.
Do you look at Jalen Carter last year and say that was a good season?
No.
Okay. So in essence, the best thing for Jalen Carter to do, seeing all this new money, is not to be a problem after the spitting incident, after the injuries, is show up, go to work, bust your ass. And if the Eagles don't want to pay you, somebody else is going to pay you a boatload of money.
Like Davis did.
Yeah.
Who's to say he's not doing it? Because he's going to do a hold in possibly. That's agent related to me more than anything else. What it
says is you are building a resume that says this guy's a problem. That's what you're doing.
I disagree. It does not.
You told me
is Terry McLaurin a problem?
You told me last year that Jalen Carter was going to be a priority, and that's why you didn't sign Milton.
Well, I did think so, and I think that what happened last year with him coming in, I don't think he came in shape. Maybe that was partly
environment change.
The spitting incident early in the year, I think all those things contributed.
Fair enough.
I do.
Boy, I can't wait for this year. I can't. 4,535 touchdowns this year for your boy Dak. 45 and 35, 4,500 yards, 35.
I'm actually hoping about 30 TDs and about 3,800 because then we've got a balanced offense and we're not in shootout games.
Well, here's how the Eagles win the Super Bowl. If Hurts goes for 2,900 yards and 15 passing touchdowns,
they win.
Eagles are going to be right there, baby. That means Barkley's back, right, Philly? Hell, you took that before.
Philly.
Barkley's going to be great this year. Are you kidding? Barkley's going to have a big year. No doubt about it.
Oh, that's right. Then you're going to have to pay him too.
Well, we should just get rid of the whole team. We should have a feeding frenzy. Come to Eagles, 20% off all our talent.
That's what,
Mark. Get rid of everybody.
Mark, next year,
get rid of everybody.
What? The salary goes to 16.4 next year.
Just get rid of everybody. It's just like you guys go through a checklist? Is it like, all right, AJ Brown, we got him going. All right, now we circle. Now we Hurts. All right, Hurts, we've already put the stuff out there. Now let's go after Jalen Carter. Okay, yep. Next week.
Don't forget
next week.
Sean Mannion.
Who should we do next week? Next week.
Minute. Don't forget Minute.
Spike Exon.
We're just going to go down the list.
Dog. Hey, I want to say this before you guys go. Listen, Mark. Great work with working on that hospital, on that church. Congratulations to you. That's good stuff, man. I appreciate you doing that, man.
No problem, man.
Good man there, man.
I'm trying to make me a place in heaven. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. Help me out because I'd like to go pray there.
There you go. Well, you've been married for 35 years. You've already been through hell.
Wait a second. Did you hear that one? Ain't no cowboys in heaven.
That's right.
All right.
A house divided cannot stand.
I will
You know what
see
I'm
you
saying?
guys next week. You're spectacular. Thank you for
Awesome.
all you do, man.
Thank you.
Peace
Thanks so
out.
much.
Thank you, Philly. Thank you.
Peace
man.
out. Peace
Of
out,
course.
guys. I appreciate you guys more than you know, man. Doing the Lord's work. That's all good. I love it. Sills would still hate if we had Prime T.O. and Jerry Rice. The only Eagle drama is what Sileo tries to drum up. Thank you for being a member for 8 months here, and I appreciate that. Oh, we got another one here. I thought that if the offense doesn't dominate the defense in OTAs, then that meant the offense sucked. So Dallas's offense is falling off. Dude, your offense's passing game has been dog shit for 5 years. Who are you kidding, kid? I mean, you make it sound like you have like Air Coryell. How about that drama though? That Mark drops with a little nugget. So there's a report going out there that Nick Sirianni has a problem with Jalen Hurts. Huh. For getting his beau fired. Got his buddy fired. By the way, he never really fired him. He was demoted. That is crazy. Sills, thanks so much for mentoring me. That made the world to me for real. Thank you. Hey, Kim, all good, man. You got my aunt's number. You know how to get in touch with me. I'll help you out if you have any questions. Absolutely. I'm always there for people that ask. And Kim, the easiest thing I can always tell you about being in broadcasting, don't ever be a bullshit artist and be somebody you're not. Be more who you are, not who you think others you want them to see you as. Just be you, and you'll get there. It'll be good and bad. Trust me when I tell you. Hey, Sills, remember when you said the whole Sorsby gambling issue was not a big deal? Haha. You have no clue what you're talking about, even though I was in the supplemental draft, right? You literally refused to let him get drafted this year. Bro, he'll be eligible next year. So let's see. How many months does he have to wait to be eligible for the draft and free agency? Let's see. Where are we now? June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. He's got 11 months and he'll be eligible to get into the NFL draft. So 11 months from now, he's completely eligible. Whatever, guy. And how about this? I have no idea what I'm talking about. And I'm one of the 11 men who've ever been drafted in a supplemental draft. Hey, Jay, read a fucking book. Let me read a book, guy. So how about this? All right. That's good optimism. I think Jonathan Kennard's a good football player too. Okay? I do. So, what's the problem with Nick? Nick has a problem with Jalen Hurts? Let me see. I've got to send somebody something here. And let me ask the question here. Let's see. Where's my boy Clint Hurt? Hold on for a minute. Clint Hurt. Let me scroll down here. Clint. What's going on in the building, man? Let's see here. What's going on in the building here? What do we got going on here? What is that? I have a problem with anyone underperforming. Fair enough. Let's see here. Diana Rossini, what's up with this now? We're getting closer to the start of training camp, so you can guarantee you that you're going to see some stories getting out there. that are going to start getting dropped as we get closer. Times article regarding Diana Cini opens with a story she told on a podcast calling the NFL coach for help in getting out of a traffic ticket. The New York Times, which owns The Athletic, calls that unacceptable conduct. Why? I would call somebody to help me get out of a traffic ticket. How Diana Rossini's $800K NFL insider job unraveled amid Mike Vrabel. Dude, calling somebody up to get them help on getting out of a traffic ticket? You guys are reaching so much. I mean, you're just reaching so much for anything. How about Nick stop hiring his buddies instead of people that know what they're doing? What the F is 4Ks to a guy that's been to 2 Super Bowls? I don't know. You should ask your coach. Rossini made the rookie move of thinking shit was off the record. True. Yeah. Hey, Mike, can you help me get out on a traffic ticket? Sure, I'll call my buddy on the New York or wherever she is, in Tennessee or wherever the hell she lives, in New York. Yeah, I got a friend of mine that's on the squad. I'll call him for you. What, you've never had anything like that, Sue? Probably not. I mean, hey, I need you to help me with a court case. I've done that. You're reaching. You're reaching. Y'all, they're reaching the same way you were reaching with this Nick Jalen story. KP is the worst OC we've seen in decades. Really? Worst you've ever seen in decades? And then you hire a guy who's the same dude. How do you know Sean Mannion's not the worst OC in decades? I know. Everybody in here, M. Reyes included, he ain't going nowhere. AJ ain't being traded. AJ's never going anywhere. You kidding me? What are you, crazy? You're going to get rid of AJ Brown? Oh, hey, Jalen Phillips, man, he ain't going anywhere. It's Philly. I'm like, yeah, okay. Like, even for you, Sills, you know the umbrella of discretion, how it works. If she wanted help, you're right. You're right. You're right, dude. You're right. If you're going to ask for help, keep it quiet. You're right, dude. Absolutely. I don't. Yeah, Sills, they talking a lot of shit and fucking with me. Good. That means you're doing something right. We get this. Here, listen to this asshole. We know Mannion isn't the worst because KP was. Okay, he's never called a play. All right. There can't be 2 people with that title. You see how bad KP is doing in Miami. No, I don't. What? All I heard, Jay, was that everyone's having struggles. And I heard that your boy you drafted can't even read the playbook. So if that's the case, Jay, how come your boy can't read the playbook? I'm really struggling reading the new Sean Mannion playbook. He said that. I'm struggling. It's really harder than I thought. The guy you drafted, the Einstein you drafted, can't pick up the playbook. And it's only training camp. I don't know. It's really a hard playbook. Can you believe it? I want guys that outperform Patrick Mahomes in a. Oh, Jesus. Oh, my God. I want guys that outperform Patrick Mahomes in 2 Super Bowls. I don't want a regular season. Oh, but by the way, so according to this dumbass, Nick Foles outperformed Tom Brady. So he wants him over Brady in a Super Bowl. Got it. Pretty good, dude. So Nick Foles, because he outperformed Brady and won the game, you think, again, you would take Foles over Brady in a Super Bowl because he outplayed him. Is that what you're saying? Philadelphia. Let me ask you, if you had to pick one quarterback between Foles and Brady to win a Super Bowl, who would you take? Who would you take if you had to play the Super Bowl again? Okay? Brady's been to 7. Who would you take? Foles? Oh, I'm going down your logic, and I'm adding the other one. Brady's been to 7, but Foles has been to 1. Who would you take? He outplayed him. I would take Foles. Okay. Well, no. What do you mean, duh? According to him, because he outplayed, and Mahomes has been to 5 and won 3 and beat the Eagles once too. So according to you, Sue, or not Sue, according to that dude, he would take Foles over Tom Brady. You would take Foles. Betty, don't give her my number now. I'm kidding. Yeah. Oh, man. I promise you, Sills, our fan base isn't this. I know it's not. Hey. Hey, listen, I know it's not, Jerry. I know it's not. Your fan base is really good. Okay. Foles over Jalen, not Brady ever. I got you. I'm kidding you, man. The delusion is fucking crazy. Oh, you know what, though, dude? You got to hand it to, like, this guy right here, man. He's just completely an Eagle fan, which is cool. So, as a fan perspective, I would rather have Aaron Rodgers passing yards the last 20 years and only 1 Super Bowl, or go to 2 Super Bowls in 4 years. Bro, Aaron Rodgers is the greatest thrower of the football, and Tom Brady even says it. He's the greatest passer of the football. His resume is second to none. He is a slam dunk first ballot Hall of Famer. He might not get in because he's an asshole. But as a football player, nobody threw the football better. He was just a great football player. Sills, would you take Dak or Jalen in a Super Bowl? Every time Dak lines up against the Eagles, he beats them. But you said Super Bowl. Not an opening season game or not an NFC East game. You said Super Bowl. Dak's the better player. Rodgers is the better player than Brady. Brady's the better quarterback. Kurt? Is it Kurt? I think you got me. I'd probably take Jalen. Jalen has been in those games and won those games. I've seen Dak in playoff games that he had the better team and not perform. Until you show me you can perform Like, I mean, I know Dak's a better football player, but that doesn't always win. Okay? And I do think there's something to winning big games. Okay? So I would probably, yeah, that's a real good one, Kurt. You got me good on that. Okay? And listen, we're going to answer questions like that you throw at me, honestly. He is a better, listen, your quarterback does not have the skill that player has. End of story. He will never do the things that Dak does skill-wise as a player in the pocket. He doesn't read defenses well. He doesn't set and progressions well. He doesn't throw the football better than Dak. He does nothing in the pocket better. He's not a better player. Aaron Rodgers throws the ball better than Brady, moves around in the pocket better than Brady, is more accurate than Brady, has better numbers than Brady. That doesn't necessarily mean he's going to win ball games. You think because a guy is a better guys are better players than other guys. That doesn't necessarily mean the same results come out of it. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to another guy. Ask Brady. He'll tell you. Didn't have the talent of Rodgers, but is mentally tougher. Yeah, that's where Brady wins. He's just a mentally tougher guy. And I'll tell you what, I think Brady's more focused of a football player. Brady is a more focused player than Rodgers, and I think that matters. Sills, I think Campbell has a breakout year. Well, ask yourself this. Is he healthy? I asked you, would you take Dak or Jalen? Last I checked, he outperformed Patrick twice. Bro, stop with that dumb shit. Jalen Hurts is nowhere in the conversation of Patrick Mahomes. They're not looking to get rid of Patrick Mahomes like they are in Philadelphia getting rid of Hurts. There's no conversation of that. Where in God's name do you think that Jalen does anything better in the pocket? The guy went to 7 straight AFC championship games, 5 Super Bowls, winning 3 of them, and 3 most valuable players, and thrown for 5,400 yards, and thrown for 50 touchdowns. Where is he better? As a football player, nowhere. Dude, that's a conversation for yourself and your butt buddy somewhere. Sitting in South Philly, glazing over something and not true. Whatever. Brady is more disciplined as well. Brady's a more disciplined player. Deep throws do not win Super Bowls. They don't. Every time people bring up Hurts is a better deep ball thrower, since when does that win Super Bowls? It's the check down read guy who wins Super Bowls. Good God. Brady's never had a player in New England that they threw the ball a billion times that won a Super Bowl. Never did they have a deep passing game. He was the king of the checkdowns. Same with Patrick Mahomes. That's why the tight end is so influential in both the Patriots and the Chiefs offense. They were deep throwing teams. They threw it to the seam. And by the way, do you think it's a little more to the point of with Mahomes and Brady? Tight ends threaten the hash marks. They don't throw to the perimeter like Hurts is basically tied to. Hurts doesn't threaten the middle of the field. Brady and Mahomes, that's where they make their living, is in the middle of the field. I mean, he's thrown over 1,100 times to the middle of the field. Since Hurts has been a starting quarterback, He's got 79 passes to the middle of the field in 24 attempts. It'll be interesting to see how long of a leash Hurts has this year, seeing as the Eagles aren't really committed to Hurts past this year. I agree. Okay? I mean, I completely agree with you. There was a tight end when they played the Eagles. Dude, I don't think they really played that great offensively in that game and that Super Bowl. Bro, stop it. Please. You look like you need a cellophane hat on talking about Mahomes and Jalen in the same conversation. Like, don't worry. We got a couple I asked another Hall of Famer to come on tomorrow. So we got 2 Hall of Fame voters. And I didn't tell him what I'm going to ask him. You guys can ask him why they don't believe he's a Hall of Fame player. I'll tell you what I'll do. I know 15 of the 50 Hall of Fame voters. And I'll get them on over the next couple weeks. And you can ask every one of them. I've already asked them. What is that? A third of the voters? Okay. You need like 20 to get in or 25 to get in, 26 to get in. Well, we'll do that for you. And Justin Herbert always outplays Jalen Hurts. Always. And so does Brock Purdy. And so does Baker Mayfield. Let's see. I'm done going to that guy. He's stupid. It's a dumb conversation. Bro, you need to go talk to some of those guys that sit around with knee pads on and those glazed donut looks of yours. How you move up and look up into the sky and see something that's not true. That's completely ridiculous. You cannot talk about Mahomes and Hurts in the same Bro, Kim, some people think because Nick Foles beat Brady, that Brady is a better player, or that because Jalen has been to 2 Super Bowls, he's better than this player, which is not true. I mean, Jim Plunkett's won 2 and been a Super Bowl MVP in 2. You think he's better than any quarterback like Dan Marino or Warren Moon or Jim Kelly because he's won 2 and an MVP? No. Like, Plunkett's name is never brought up. Like, never brought up. Like, Jim Plunkett, here, look at this resume. Hurts doesn't have this resume of Plunkett. He's not in. Here, Jim Plunkett. Look at Plunkett's accomplishments. We should get Jim on. I worked with him at Stanford. I was a sideline reporter. Check this out. You tell me if Jalen Hurts, you think Jalen Hurts has a better resume than Jim Plunkett? Anybody in here? Does anybody think Jalen Hurts has a better resume? Anybody? I'm curious. Do you think that he has a better resume than Jim Plunkett? Okay, let me read you Jim Plunkett's resume. 2-time Super Bowl champion, MVP, NFL Comeback Player of the Year, AFC Rookie of the Year, Heisman Trophy winner. I don't know. Where in God's name do you think your quarterback has a resume with Rookie of the Year, 2-time Super Bowl champion, an MVP, and an NFL Comeback Player of the Year? And no one ever brings his name up for consideration for the Hall of Fame. Okay? And won the Heisman. I mean, see here. No. And Plunkett has the same record as Eli Manning. 72 and 72. I think Manning's 117 and 117. Both 500. He's got a 500 record. Has he thrown for more touchdowns than picks? No, he's like Namath. I think Bradshaw's in that list too. Before you start saying, he doesn't have a better resume right now. He never will than Jim Plunkett. Stills is correct. Some of y'all need to turn down your Hurts fandom. I mean, guys, a lot more to be played out, though. A lot more. Okay? A lot more to be played out for sure. And by the way, how about this? You can also play yourself out, and I'll show you a guy that's played himself out, in my opinion, of the Hall of Fame. I'm going to show you Russell Wilson here. Russell Wilson. Check this out. And you're right. Jalen could have an even better year. So check this out. His first, how many years? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. First 5 years. 4, 5, 6. 56 and 18. Am I right? 10, 8, and 1. He's 56, 18, and 1. Let's take a look at Jalen Hurts. First 5 years in the league. Jalen Hurts. Okay. Jalen Hurts, first 5 years in the league. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay. 8 and 7. 14 and 1. 8. That's 22 and 8. 11 and 6. 14. That's 33 and 14. 12 and 3. Because he missed games. That's 45 and 17. And then 11 and 5 last year. 21. 6 and 56. Okay. So here's Jalen Hurts' record. First 5 years, Jalen Hurts' record is 56 and 22. Russell Wilson's record is 56, 18, and 1 that he played. 2 Super Bowls in a row, winning one of them. You would say, well, both guys, same trajectories. Both guys went to 2. Hurts does have the MVP. Well, let's take a look at Russell Wilson's last 5 years. Okay? 0 and 3. 6 and 5. 7 and 8. 4 and 11. 6 and 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's 24 and 35 at the end of his career. You think the guy has played himself out of the Hall of Fame? Or at least a questionable? And look at his numbers, too. His numbers are not bad. 16 touchdowns, 11 picks, 26 touchdowns, 8, 16 and 5, 3 and 3. These are not horrible. I think it's going to be a pretty close debate. 46,000 passing yards plus the 2 Super Bowls. I'll tell you what might get him in is the fact he's a 10-time Pro Bowler and a Walter Payton Man of the Year. Okay? May end up getting him in. Unfortunately for Jalen Hurts, Big Sills, predictions will be this year when Hurts struggles spreading the ball around and getting the ball out on time. Fans will be calling for Tanner by the bye week. DFW, here's my take. The first guy they're going to take a shit on is Sean Mannion. Mannion will be the first scapegoat because they're going to take what I've been telling them. Why did you hire a first-year play caller? You know what, too? What people are not here. How many people in here think that Mekhi Lemon will have a couple tough years? Or not a couple tough years. Have a couple tough weeks and getting acclimated to the offense. How many? Okay. The disrespect to Wilson comparing him to Hurts. Russ could actually throw the ball. He could. I think Russell actually led the NFL in touchdown passes one year, if I'm not mistaken. He did. Hurts has a better chance of leading the NFL in rushing touchdowns than passing touchdowns. How many people in here think that Lemon, okay? I think Lemon has 1,300 yards. I think he fits in. And the guy's telling you he can't even understand the playbook and he's been banged up and he practiced one time and you think he fits in. Okay, let's ask a normal human being. Do you think that rookies struggle like getting acclimated to the NFL? Most rookies struggle. Why wouldn't a rookie play caller struggle? Why wouldn't a rookie play caller struggle? And I'm not saying awfully, but I'm saying why wouldn't he? He's never done it. How would he know what plays to call on 1st and 8 from your own 25 versus Dan Quinn? How would he know? How would he know? He may have, look, you may have an idea. Look, and I'm not saying he's a stupid football man. My question for Sean Mannion is not going to be whether he's a dumbass or not. Kevin Patullo is not a dumbass. Kevin Patullo doesn't know how to drive home. Do you understand that? He doesn't know how the back roads work in Philly to get around traffic, not to go over the bridge at a particular time. That's what Vic Fangio does. Okay? Sills, the last five years, every top 20 rookie wide receiver has over 1,000 yards. And every one of those guys were drafted as ones. He's being drafted as a 2, not a 1. Awful take. Those guys were drafted as 1s, not 2s. He's not your primary receiver. He's going to be your number 2 receiver in your offense. Okay? That's who he is. Hey, every one of those guys went in as a primary target. First things are, by the way, Malik Neighbors, who was the one in New York his rookie year? Him. And that's right. Smitty didn't even get $1,000 his first year. You know why? He was a number 2 wideout. That's correct. That's correct. Right. sit there and think every one of those wideouts were on football teams that didn't have ones. Correct. He's going to have issues learning the game. League adjusting to the NFL, plus until Jalen proves he can spread the ball around, he won't get the touches. Correct. If he gets 800 yards, it's a very successful rookie season. Considering all the factors, just hope he could stay healthy. I'm with you, dude. If that guy gets 50-some catches, 56 catches, 60 catches, and he has 850 yards, that'll be an exceptional season for him. It'll be a great year. And the Eagle passing game, I'm assuming Smitty's probably going to go for over 1,200 yards. Yeah, that would be a great year. First thing teams are going to do is press Lemon at the line to see if he can get free. These corners are bigger and stronger. Correct. Sills, whenever I hear these fans talk about Lemon, I always think about the song King of the Wishful Thinking from Go West. Okay? Let's see. Oh, hey, man. Dan, I got you on TV. Thank you, bro. Appreciate it very much. Really cool. Hurts doesn't throw around the middle of the field. He doesn't. I showed you the number. He doesn't. And I know he's got great success, but the Eagles go like this. Hey, he's really successful, but let's not do it. Hey, Kim, think about that. He's really successful at throwing across the middle. He's got great numbers. But hey, let's not throw there and do that. Okay. Yeah. Wow. What? Like my favorite stat. How many passes has Hurts thrown across the middle of the field since 2021? This is my favorite. Okay. $99 passes out of 2,400 attempts. That's and get this, to all those idiots there that'll go, yeah, at a 77.9 percentage completion and 123 quarterback rating. Okay. Well, so you stop doing things he's good at. Solid. That's a solid take. Wait a minute. So the guy does something well. Let's not do it. That's a solid take. Hey, Dan, he's really good at doing something. How many passes? Let me see here. I mean, high turnover rate thrown across the middle. Absolutely. Hey, so get this. That's my favorite. Hold on. Here, this is really what I like. And what Mannion is gonna, and by the way, this is not so much on Hurts. This is on Mannion. This is not really on Jalen. This is more on Mannion. What's Mannion know? And how to help Jalen? How stupid is that? Let me hire a guy that's never done shit. 2,400 passing yards. It's got 99 passes across the middle. And Mannion is going to improve that. Okay, I want to see it. Let Hurts fall on his face and learn how to read defenses. Yeah, but Kim, here's the thing. I'm with Joe Krause. Why am I changing? Why would I do that? I want to win ball games. I don't want to teach a guy something and make a guy do shit he's not good at. I'm not ripping you. I'm just saying, why in God's name would I ask Matthew Stafford to run RPOs. That's not evolving. That's dumb play calling. Like, that's dumb play calling. Let me ask you something. What do you think is stupider? Kevin Patullo's playbook or asking Hurts to do shit he's not done in Philly? What do you think is dumb? Wouldn't you rather just do the stuff that made him successful and expand that? And like the defense, how about this, Kim? You hear Zach Ball talking, man, I can't wait. You should see what Vic is doing. The defense is going to be even better than what it was before. And it's going to be great. We're just going to start adding on. Why can't the Eagles add on to what they've been doing the last 5 years? Why are they going to do something that the kid's never done? And that the play caller's never done? But these idiots in the chat will try to convince you that Stafford would be great at RPO. Hey, my friend, the people in here that are spamming right now, they're panicking. Wait till the season starts. We'll see. We'll find out who's right. We will. It's only a matter of time. I have all of the what is. Whatever to take will be the answer this season. It's going to be interesting. Michael, amen. Michael, I have no problem doing this. You're right or I'm wrong. It's called sports talk, my friends. And all the people that are in here petitioning on why I'm wrong, I give you all nothing but the power of the day. I don't block anybody. I'll let you idiots come in here and talk it up. And we appreciate that, right, Joe? We all do. I don't have a problem with you guys. You just have a problem with what I'm saying. There's a learning curve for all rookies. There's a learning curve also for play callers. Lemon is already showing it by learning the playbook and admitting it to the press. All rookies go through it. Absolutely true. He'll be okay. Oh, yes, Hills. I'm patiently waiting for the season. I can't wait to see the demise of the jail. No. I'm not saying that. I'm not wishing the failure of the team. Why would I want to cover a 4-win football team? Once again, you have me wrong. Who wants to cover the Arizona Cardinals? Nobody. Who wants to cover the Titans? Nobody. Who wants to cover that shitty Dolphins team? Nobody. I don't want to cover that team. No. This is great content. Dude, I told you 10 times over. I'm not rooting for that team to lose. Not at all. I'm just questioning some of the moves, and we'll find out. Let's see here. Let's get away from some of the spammers here. There we go. Let's see here. Let's go here. Who wants to cover the Jets? Well, the Jets, because it's New York. You know what I'm saying? The Jets, because New York, right? Right? By the way, let's see here what's going on. I just got a ping. Let's see here. Hold on. Did we just get a brand new contract? Hold on. How about this? So the Ravens are going to pay Zay Flowers in the next 10 days, according to ESPN, $35 million annually. for a guy who had 1,200 yards and 5 touchdowns last year. 1,200 yards. And he's making $10 million more than Devontae Smith, who's now a 1 in Philadelphia. Okay, we will do that, Twiz. I actually like that for tomorrow. Twiz, I actually like that. We'll do that. It's not the same topics, jackass. We just got to... Twiz, my God. So they now are looking at a contract for Zay Flowers for $35 million. And Baltimore is now saying also that they should have the Lamar Jackson contract wrapped up also in 10 days, according to Greg Cosell. Okay. And wow. Greg Cosell saying the new OC, DeClan Doyle this season, is saying that you're going to see a completely different looking passing game in Baltimore. Interesting. Pretty dope, man. They're going to pay that kid $64 million. Guy's on his way to the Hall of Fame. Dude, I don't think the Buccaneers are going. I think the Bucs are going to go down this lane with him. I think they're going to tag him twice. Okay? All right? I think they're going to tag him twice. What more do y'all want from the kid? He never missed the playoffs. You should ask your own team that. That's what we're at. Philadelphia. That's what we're asking. I agree with you. What more do you want? I agree. Sills, the Ravens should have went after AJ. Could have been the missing piece there. Dude, AJ Brown and Derrick Henry in Baltimore. Dude, I just think again, I mean, Baltimore, he's got to win. He puts a Super Bowl on that resume with those 2 MVPs and all the things that he's done. It'll solidify him as a first ballot Hall of Famer. Okay? Yeah, we're not going to that guy. Have a good one, dude. Let's see here. Yeah, they'll pay Flowers, and guess what? Who doesn't get paid like I said, Carter? Who isn't getting paid like I said, Carter? Dude, Zay Flowers is getting $35 million. And he's not that player. Buccaneers going to struggle with their division potential. Panthers are much improved. Agreed. I think the Saints have gotten better. I'll tell you what. I think Kellen Moore's done a great job. Guys, I appreciate you more than you know. Thank you so much. Guys, hit the like button on the way out. 2 to 6 tomorrow, and we shall see you on the flip side.
There's a reason Detective Johnson is the gossip king.
Oh, did you hear? Jackie and Tom
are getting a divorce? Sad.
Well, I heard that Ashley
had work done on her face? Yeah, oof.
Just like there's a reason Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. Injured? With over $25 billion recovered for our clients, there's a reason to go big.
Bathroom? Okay.
Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Oh.